Alrighty then. Oof. Pencil. Beady body boop. Alrighty, so I'm gonna go ahead and get this started up. Good versus Uaena. Good just got off a match, so Uaena should have, if they're watching, some familiarity with what they might want to pick. And also ban coming in this next game, as well as I believe they've already played each other. Excuse me. So would make a lot of sense if they knew this going in. I have to watch these guys kind of talk to air because for whatever reason I'm not as fancy as some of the other people that do VOD reviews, and so I don't know how to put a, what would you call it, a layer on top of my screen that I can draw on top of. It might be something I have to add on to through OBS, but I don't know how to do it right now. So it's got kind of way. It means that this one I'll probably just stick to a single game as well, just because this one's going to be a little longer because I can't fast forward through the match and I can't put it on speed up as far as I know. So yeah, I wish I could. I'd be really, really grateful. Well, I'd be really grateful. Be really helpful. But I can't. So, yeah. Yeah. But if I remember correctly from the last game, Good really kind of focused giving their team bot lane priority, and then allowed their jungler BLH to help Weenie Hut Jr. kind of focus on the mid 2v2. I don't remember if they focused top that much. But we're already getting picking bans. You already see Uaena banning out this Draven, so it has to be a pick that Timmy the Tank likes to play. Maybe it's a pocket pick he plays really well, and then they ban away the Caitlyn and the Jax as well. So I believe this is actually the same bans they had from the last game. Oh my god, I hate this. I'm gonna have to figure out a better system to do this, but yeah. If it's gonna pause every time I try and draw on the screen. Will it? Is it gonna pause? Yeah, pause every time I draw on the screen. So that's highly annoying. But it's whatever, because we'll have to work with today. So, ban away the Jax, the Caitlyn, I believe these were basically the same bans as last game. We'll see what Uaena decides to play around. They're just going to keep focusing the bot lane. They probably watched the last game. And plus, they do play through their bot lane happiness and innovation a lot. And see Zika, I don't think he's their normal mid laner, so there's no point in trying to get super heavy mid lane priority. You might spend your next ban phase getting him comfortable, since you do have counter pick. But otherwise, yeah, they're focusing their strongest lane, which I agree with for them. Elo Terrace can also pop off, but he's kind of inconsistent. It's like one week he's great, the other week he's not. And sometimes I do believe it's dependent on the champions they put him on. The Orianna again. So I think these three bans are the same bans they had last game, or at least the Orianna and the Caitlyn were. Jax is kind of a question mark a little bit. I can't remember correctly if he was, but regardless, it's basically three bans: AD carry, jungler. Yeah, it was Kha'Zix's last game. So AD carry, jungler, Orianna, which or did they ban the Orianna last game? I could go back and check real quick. Yeah, they did, because Toucan couldn't play it. They banned it away. Took it away from the team composition of wherever they play a Flame Out of Love last time, if I remember right. So yeah. And then they're probably going to. Oh wait, well, so they're gonna ban away the Orianna next. Uaena. I'd like to see them. Either you can do one of two things. Either you keep throwing bans at the bottom lane, trying to uh, hit Timmy the Tank down the champion pool. I would suggest banning the Jhin, because he did pop off on it last game. Or you can throw a ban toward Elo Terrace way, because they really have to play through their side lanes this game. I actually think both their jungler and their mid laner are subs, or at least they're new additions, so there's no point in trying to play around them this early when they're not familiar with each other that way. Once again, like, I can only see the stream games. There's no way for me to watch the games that they play um, the games that they played, you know, off stream. So I don't know how well they gelled. All I can go is off what I know, which is last time I casted Uaena, I Love You V was in the lineup, and neither was Zika. So they're gonna keep focusing the bot lane. And actually, they ban away the Skarner, which I do like that ban. I just don't like what order it came in. I'd rather see the Skarner maybe second phase, or maybe you switch Alistar out for the Skarner, so that you still have room to ban the Xayah. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't pick Jhin again for Timmy the Tank. I wouldn't be surprised if Xayah was down in this slot for him, or if they picked it first, because as we all know, the Xayah Rakan duo, and why you kind of have to ban it first on red side is that if you don't know what your opponent plays, or if they play Xayah that well or not, then you're basically giving away the stronger part of the duo, which will force you to either ban away Rakan in next phase or take it this phase, which still gives them an advantage either way, because either you waste a ban trying to ban away the Rakan, or you take the Rakan, which is nowhere near as good by himself than he is in the duo. So I think they put themselves in a hole at 80 carry, the position in the bot lane that they're actually trying to ban out. And I mean, he still has options as well. He can leave the Xayah up and then, you know, ban the Rakan. Yulgood can do that. They can give them the Xayah Rakan duo and play the duo they played last game. It was the Alistar last game with the Jhin, but you can go Thresh. You can go I wouldn't say Morgana, although Morgana is more like a safety pick. You don't pick her to be aggressive, and Yulgood likes to be aggro, so you don't pick her to be aggro for IWQ, but you can still go to Thresh, something more aggressive support than, or you can even go Braum, which is kind of like, I like to call Braum an aggressive. He has an aggressive defense. It's almost like his offense is his best defense, where especially with Jhin, you can easily stun up targets multiple times with CC, and you can still come out even in a lot of lane matchups as Braum, especially super early, so they could still pick the Braum. But suffice to say, my point is, I wish they would have banned out more AD carries with this phase, or if you're going to ban out the Skarner, do it earlier, and also add Jhin or Xayah to this ban phase. I think the Alistar means a respect ban, because IWQ did have a good game on it the last game against Flame Out of Love, but at the same time, you kind of handicapped yourself in this draft, and so I wouldn't be surprised if you're good. If Timmy the Tank is comfortable on picked up Xayah in this first round, they could also pick up Jhin, but conversely, if you're not going to pick up Xayah for Yulgood, then you should have banned it away, because then you'll just easily give up the Xayah Rakan duo to the side of Uaena. So both teams, it kind of depends now on what Yulgood does, because they put themselves in a hole as well, because Timmy the Tank might want to try and play that Jhin again, but at the same time, it's not too terrible of a hole, because even if you're forced to pick the Xayah, it's still the better of the two. So we'll see what they do with this first pick. Um, Hopefully, I don't use up all the timer. Like I said, I can't fast forward, so I had to watch this entire timer go down if they decide to sit on it and wait. And then before they can ban out BLH anymore, because throwing one jungle ban usually means you're going to throw more. They're actually going to pick up the Swain, which is still a very good first pick. It means that if Uaena plays it, then they can pick up the Xayah Rakan. But a lot of CompeteLeague, like I said in the last review, is, ifs. If the team doesn't play it, then in CompeteLeague, then you don't have to ban it, because it's not like higher levels of play where champion pools are flexible all around for everyone in the team, and they actually will pick up the Jhin, and it's kind of surprising. I mean, Jin's strong, no doubt, and so is Zach. So I mean, in any circumstance where they didn't give up Zyrakan, I'd like this pick ban phase, because it's like, what you do is, you might switch this ban out, or even switch uh Draven out, which, I mean, I guess depends on how comfortable you are playing against the Draven with Timmy the Tank. Uh the Skarner ban, now seeing that what their picks are, makes more sense, because when you're playing Jhin, And you're playing Zac. Both of these two, Skarner gets super speedy Scorpo to your back line, and if he builds correctly, where they go Unsealed Spellbook, just finds an opportunity, he grabs your Jin. Jin being a low mobility carry, especially when he's in the middle of his ult. You grab him, pull him in a team, and then Skarner can just bully the Zac early in his jungle, and that just takes away so much priority from I Love UV possibly trying to help his lanes get ahead. And he just gets bullied throughout the early game, which takes away his gank pressure to be able to try and gank Timmy the Tank or try and hit Weenie Hut Jr., which seems to be what everyone likes to do, is try and hit these two and sort of ignore Colbox in the top lane. Although last game, it seemed that Flame I Love kind of had to do that a couple times because he was the only one to gank because their other lanes lost so heavily that they had to go for that gank. So, regardless, that seems to be the stratagem, is they banned away the Skarner to facilitate their uh, jungle and their top laner. I mean, their jungler and their AD carry. They're not afraid of the Zyra Khan apparently, so Good can pick up both of them. And this, if they pick up Zyra Khan and Swain, this would actually be a really, really good first round for them in draft, because that gives them a really strong bot lane, a really strong mid or top lane that they can flex going into the second round. So now if you're Uaena, you don't know, hey, should we pick a mid laner right here for Zika? If we pick a mid laner too early, they could flex Swain, just flex him instead of going mid, flex him to the top lane, keep him there. And then you get stuck in a trap where, okay, we might have to, if we pick a mid laner this early and they flex him to top, then what are we going to play in the Swain top lane? And our mid laner can still be counterpicked by Weenie Hut Jr. in this phase if picked too early. And it's the same thing for top lane, where if you pick a top laner too early, for Elo terrorists, since Elo terrorists like to actually play really aggressive top laners, that leaves easy counter territory in the bottom half of Yulgood's draft. So they kind of put themselves in a position again to have a poor draft phase by, I mean, the Swain pick, you can't ban out everything, so it's kind of hard. But at the same time, I think them focusing these three, like I said, you had to ban away the Draven, because I guess Timmy the Tank's really good on that. They banned the Alistar out of fear, which I don't necessarily agree with. Yes, he had a good game on it last game, but you got to remember that Flame I Love kind of put themselves in a hole in their bot lane anyways for him to succeed. And so far from what you picked, you don't show. There's nothing here that Alistar can really bully out Jin in lane, even if he has to play passively. Can farm further enough back to where it should be hard for Alistar to find an engage on him without expending multiple summoner spells and possibly getting help from their jungler. Um, Zac as well in the mid to late game. Yes, he can get ahead, but pulverize and maybe some good ultimates. But then you have Zac that can just go for the enemy backline. I mean, as far as we can see in this draft, can go for the enemy backline before you see the Swain picked. And even with the Swain, he can hop Elastic Slingshot right over the Demon's Ascension and Elastic Slingshot over there, get to the backline. So even if Alistar goes in on your Jin, you have Zac to basically counter and go in on their bottom on their backline. So I think trading the Alistar wouldn't have been a big issue. I think they did it out of fear. You never want to pick and ban out of fear unless it's a legitimate fear. I don't know how many games IWQ has on Alistar, but you don't usually see people priority banning supports in the first round anyways. I know G2 was heralded in this past week in one of the podcasts for the LCS, where they were the first team to really innovate. Actually, it might have been Zyrene during his VOD where he talked about how G2 was really the only team to really try and priority ban and like triple ban out a position. And if you're not willing to do that, especially for support, then just don't ban supports. Like I said, maybe IWQ has been showing out on the Alistar lately, but don't ban out of fear, and especially don't ban a support out of fear. The Skarner ban makes sense, Draven ban makes sense, but if you do a little bit more research on your draft and you see that someone on their team plays Swain, then you gotta ban it on red side, because Swain is too powerful a pick right now to allow him to basically do whatever he wants against you by allowing him to be first picked. He's a great flex pick. He can go mid and bot lane, and it's just like I said it in the last video. Even if he does mediocre in lane, it doesn't matter. He can still come back and affect team fights and just affect the entire game as a whole, even when he doesn't do as well. Classic example is Soaz went like 0-3 and 6 on him, but even Soaz still had an effect on team fights and on the game as a whole, helping get picks on crucial targets. I don't know why I always have to stretch and yawn in the middle of these things, but yeah. So I think they just need to do a lot more research, which is something I can say about a lot of these gold plat teams in CompeteLeague is just do your pick and ban research a little bit more, and you'll have a little bit more success. At the same time, some people just need to be schooled up in draft theory, but I mean, draft theory is different for everybody. It depends on what you prioritize. So we'll see what you'll get to finishes up here with. I wouldn't be surprised if they locked in their bot lane, knowing it's Jhin. They do pick the Karma, which can be a flex in CompeteLeague. CompeteLeague, anything can happen. So she could be going mid, she could be going top or support. So it's another good CompeteLeague centric flex pick. Not saying that it's like something that everywhere, like LCS is universal you can work with, but I mean, we saw Bjergsen play it in playoffs to not much success. Some of it his fault, some of it not his fault. But the general point is in CompeteLeague, it can go anywhere and actually go Rise. So we know that basically it's probably gonna be a support Karma. They didn't pick AD carry yet, which is really peculiar because knowing that Jhin is on the table, they could go ahead and pick their AD carry instead of allowing Uaena to use their last 2 bans to ban out Timmy the Tank. The Karma can come later. Like, this can come later. No one's banning Karma at all. I don't think. Again, it's like maybe if they know IWQ is really good at it, if they did their research, but seeing from their earlier pick ban draft, the only research they did was on Timmy the Tank, and this was a fear ban. So I don't think they had any prior knowledge that Karma was going to be picked. So why pick Karma this early? Rise is a 2 strong picks. You actually even see in LPL and LCK teams flexing Rise to the top lanes. Now you have 2 flex picks right here that could go either way depending on what they want to do and if they've been paying attention to that next level strats. So, but now you basically have 2 flex picks you can switch between here that really puts them in a bind for their last, not just 2 last 3 picks because again, it's like, do we pick a top laner here or pick a mid laner? I think now you can try and pick one or the other and just sort of try and guess where the cards lie. It's not the best situation, but it's better than at least not knowing who the enemy mid laner and top laner is, which I think Yul Good wasted a lot of power here by picking the Rise. I think Weenie Hut Jr.'s champion pool is big enough to where they can kind of call you on his bluff and be like, we'll see what you ban out. You still have to possibly throw bans at our AD carry. Apparently, you're afraid of our support, so you still have someone else to throw bans at possibly, and you still have to figure out what bans you're going to throw at top and mid. So I think it's a lot of power lost at this stage in the draft, but to each his own. Either way, the Rise pick really good regardless, as long as he can play it well. I played with the Rise last night, that wasn't that good at all, but if he can play the Rise well, we all know what Rise can do. Good global pressure, great AoE damage, great damage overall in general. And now that leaves you on a chance to possibly ban out Tim of the Tank. Just kind of summarize all that. They have a chance to ban him out after making this last pick. And then give happiness a little bit of help, happiness and innovation, a little bit of help in the bot lane winning that 2v2. And then maybe Zach helps affect the 1v1 in top lane and the 2v2, the 1v1 in mid, and try and use that to get some priority in the top side of the map. But we'll see what Uaena does, if they can, think that far ahead logically and can, make proper conjectures into that. And they will go top. So they will go ahead and think, okay, so maybe we don't watch LPL, but we're going to go ahead and think that they don't watch LPL either. And we're going to go ahead and pick the Alawi into Swain. I don't know how that matchup goes. In fact, let me look it up real quick to see. I think I can check Champion ID to see if that's a Swain counter or if he's just picking it for comfort. If you can't notice, my throat is feeling a lot better, so me talking isn't like a burden. Let's see, middle champions that counter Swain. Oh, because this isn't for top lane yet. I think I can switch it to top lane. 37% win percentage. Yeah, kind of figures. Yeah, it's not even a counter to Swain. Swain actually counters the Illaoi. So he picked, and this is what doing your research helps with, because it might be comfort for Eloteris, because I think from what I've heard and know, Eloteris is he's godly on carries and he's pretty godly on the Illaoi. But just because it's comfort, I don't agree you picking the Illaoi into the Swain when it's a Swain counter. I mean, Swain counters any real tanks or bruisers just because he can just lay out so much poke, and her being a melee champion especially, she just can't get anywhere near him without taking massive damage from his spell rotation, because all her stuff, except for a Tentacle Smash, is melee. And once he gets boots, once Kobox gets some boots, he'll be able to dodge those anyway, so she won't be able to sustain off of him. He'll have the boots to dodge her test of will, and basically off that, she won't have any real good standing in the lane. And if he takes Ignite, which I'm not saying that's his Ignite, but I've seen Illaoi's take Ignite to try and be really combative in lane. If he takes Ignite and it fails on its face, then he's really into a spot of trouble. But all in all, at least we know pretty much that this matchup's locked up. So this is gonna probably draw Zach oop, wrong way. It's probably gonna draw Zach toward Elo Terrace lane a lot more than it should, than they would want it to, because you want the Zac A to be able to farm safely until he gets his full complement, mainly to at least level 4. And then, or, you can do a gank at level 3. You can even try and go for an early level 2 gank, but usually Zac isn't healthy enough to do so. With Chrysalis, I played it last night. Chrysalis doesn't really make a difference in how healthy you clear your jungle. It does if you want to power farm, it helps you with clear, but if you want to go for a gank, it doesn't really do that much for you. But maybe around level 3 or 4, he can V can try and look for a gank onto Kobox, but it's not guaranteed. And even then, as Zac, you want to try and help Zika control the mid lane and give you mid lane priority to protect you from whatever aggressive jungler that BLH will pick. Because remember, last game BLH was on the Skarner, and once he finally got to get into the Sejuani's jungle, he stayed there for most of the rest of the match. They banned away the Skarner, but there's a lot of other aggressive picks you can take. You can take the Olaf still. They might ban it out in this next phase. I'd actually suggest them banning it out, because this top side of the map, especially the mid lane, 2v2 and the top lane 1v1 is going to be so important that they're going to need a jungler to ban out any junglers that can pressure the Zac and basically keep these 1v1s or allow BLH to get the first gank off in mid and top lane. So that's what I'd actually focus on banning out is junglers this next round, which once again puts them in a bind, because that still leaves Team of the Tanks champion pool wide open to play anything. IWQ the same way. So I think so far in summary, I think if they had focused using the first ban phase not to ban out the bottom lane, use that in the second pick and ban phase. Yeah, the Draven, once again, you had to ban, because that's Team of the Tanks, I guess, go-to pick. But You'll Good bans away the Caitlyn for you, so they obviously don't want RNG happiness or anywhere to get a lane where that can either go even with their pressure or overwhelm them with pressure and take first turret. So they're gonna pick something aggressive in the bot lane, for sure. And you got the Jhin that you want to take away. There's just a lot of pick and ban mistakes that I think you want to kind of mix here. Um, the Skarner was fine for me. I think instead of banning Alistar, you either keep hitting Team of the Tank really hard, bumping him out of the champion pool, or you try and ban away mid or top. That being said, they might not fully know Weenie Hut Jr. Kobox's champion pool, so I think you just keep banning away the bottom lane. But once you do that and pick and ban, when you see them lock in Swain, uh, you have a pickle on your. It's really hard. I mean, you can't really ban it away because you don't know he plays it, but at the same time, you can't pick Illaoi into it, especially after they actually revealed to you where it was going. They showed you where it was going first before you even had this pick. So you had the ability to try and counter pick it, and instead you pick a counter into it. But we're gonna keep going anyways. So these next bans should be jungle bans. I wouldn't be surprised they were, but instead they banned the Xayah away. That should have been banned earlier, so you wouldn't even have to worry about it. So now you have to waste a ban there, and now You'll Good can continue to just pound your. They can either pound your support, which I don't think they will do, or they can pound your mid lane, which they probably will do because they want the Rise to have as advantageous a matchup as possible. So, um, yeah, well, they're gonna ban supports. I think that's fine. I mean, either one. I mean, I would ban mids to give Weenie Hut Jr. an even bigger advantage. But, uh, you know, if that's where they obviously want to keep the power in their bottom half of the map, so they're gonna trade 80 carry bans for support bans right here, I think. And see this edge like this Ezreal ban, like, why? Because you're already not gonna play. They're already gonna have the chance to ban out any aggressive supports you want to play that would give you the ability to push and have lane advantage. Like, they already banned away the Lulu, who can give you push and lane advantage. They're gonna probably ban another aggressive support right here. I feel like IWQ has a lot of them himself. He can pick a Thresh or anything he wants, and I think if you're not gonna have the lane advantage in the aggro, then you don't need to ban the Ezreal, because that's a defensive pick that they're going to pick if they want to avoid your aggro, and you'll get it shown that they're a team that wants to fight and want to be aggressive. So they're not going to pick an Ezreal in this situation, unless Timmy the Tank is just a godlike aggressive Ezreal that, can build Triforce and go ham, which, once again, I can't tell that. This is just based off what I think. But, yeah, this Xayah ban should have been somewhere in the front, so they wouldn't even have to worry about banning her out. And then okay, so if you ban away the Xayah first, in the first rotation, then you can ban the Ezreal and say, okay, we're using an 80 carry ban for Ezreal, and then the other ban can be something going mid. It can be, or wait, not mid. They already picked their mid laner. It can be something going to 80 carry, um, maybe jungler, something like that. I'd really enjoy a jungle ban somewhere in this mix, but instead they have to go for double 80 carries because they have to worry about, okay, we can't still give over the Zyra Khan, and then we want to try and play in a lane where Timmy the Tank can't just farm up, and if you play Ezreal really well, you can play either defensively or you can play aggressively, depending on how good of an Ezreal you are. So we don't want to give him that power. But if you ban the Xayah instead of banning this, then you have room to ban one more jungler. You already took away the Jhin. So whatever they pair with Alistar, and I think the way your comp was panning out before the Illaoi, the way your comp was panning out, you were fine to let the Alistar through. It's not something that you had to priority ban for your team. So we're going to see what they rounded out with. I mean, they still have the mid lane counter pick, which is great. Yeah, see, they just banned the Morgana, which is another support that can not only provide Jhin with some protection, but also play aggressive if they land a lot of. See right here, this is dumb. If they land a lot of bindings, the Morgana here can play aggressive. They're just basically taking away all pseudo safe and aggressive supports that the support shouldn't be in any real danger themselves, and they can protect their AD carry. They can play either defensively or aggressively. They're just banning out innovation to help Timmy the Tank and IWQ win the bot lane matchup. And then this right here, this is like a super big wido. Like wido. Like wido. Like, you have the counter pick. You don't have to pick it this early. You can wait to see what they pick support. Counter pick the support position, and then pick your mid laner. I feel like I said that wrong. No, I said that wrong. They want to save their counter pick for support. My bad. That was backwards. The reasoning was backwards. I keep forgetting that they already picked Rise. I keep forgetting they already picked Rise. I think that's my biggest crutch. I keep forgetting they already picked this person. They already picked this person. They already picked what's probably gonna be their support. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. This pick and ban from Uaena is just everywhere. There's a whole bunch of things I already pointed out that I don't like about it. I mean, I guess you can go ahead and pick your. I mean, there's no, like, your last two picks. All you could do is try and ban out something because you already lost all your counter pick power by picking all three of your possible carries this early in the draft before um seeing what they had. And I mean, they helped you out by picking the Rise this early because they didn't want Weenie Hut Jr. to get banned out. So that's cool. That's fine. I guess because you already knew where the swing was going, it doesn't matter too. There's a lot of things I'm pointing out that I guess don't matter in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. I guess my big point is I think if you're gonna trying to look at this, if you're going to want to pick an aggressive bottom lane, why? I mean, obviously that's what you were going for because you banned out 4 bottom laners and they added 3 of their own. So you banned out basically 7 different picks that can go to the bot lane, essentially. But you don't pick your support early enough to protect it, which then, I mean, you still have your jungle pick. And I think looking back in hindsight's 2020, I think the Zac, you could have saved the jungle pick for down here. And because yeah, by this time, I mean, you can't tell what BLH has in mind, but you know he's probably not going to pick a Zac because he likes picks like Skarner, things that are aggressive. It can play aggressive, at least from what he showed last game. So therefore, you can save the counter pick for jungle down there, pick your support right here, and then they already had to reveal their mid and top because they don't want to get them banned out in the second round of bans, and they don't have counter pick. So then that still leaves you free to do this. And I think what they did was they kind of wasted their ability to counter pick jungle, and at least see what BLH was going to pick first, and then give V something he can play in the jungle that can counterplay that, regardless of what it is, and still have their early support so their support doesn't get banned out 500 times. And now any lane pressure you might have had with Jhin is gone unless you pull something out like a Thresh or a Blitzcrank or something kind of out of left field. Uh, all that pressure you could have had from having a dominant bot lane against Team of the Tank and IWQ is now pretty much gone. Because Jhin is strong right now, but in lane he still is very dependent on who he's laning with, and they completely banned out anyone that he could be good with. And I'm guessing that Innovation doesn't play a lot of tank melee mid lane or supports. He plays a lot of range supports, so that's definitely Gonzo. They could still pick like a Janna and be fine in lane, but you could tell they didn't want to just be fine. They want to have a winning bot lane. And here comes the Kai'Sa. The Kai'Sa. You'll love to see it. And a Sejuani. And Sejuani does really good in the Zac, mainly because it's a pick where you don't have to be aggressive. If you don't want to, you can power farm just like him, but at the same time, you have this. You don't lose the tempo war against the Zac, because you can gank basically at the same time as him. And they picked the Scion. Oh, you know what? I do remember this game. I do, because I remember watching this game before I came on the cast, and I remember saying that Uaena was trying to counter the innate push that Yulgood would have with the Kai'Sa Karma bot lane, with picking the one champion that embodies push right now in the Scion. So I think this is a good innovative pick for lane because you can't push in a Scion. You can't ever outpush Scion. He might end up accidentally taking some farm from Jhin, but at least Jhin won't ever be stuck under his turret for a possible dive. Because let's face it, this entire team composition can dive you pretty easily wherever they go. And their first target, knowing them, would probably be this right here. These two. It's hard to dive, and it's hard to dive. It's hard to gank in his ear as long as he has his Shurima shuffle and times it right. The one thing it's hard. Well, it's hard to try and dive and allow it with the timing you have. Like maybe getting a 2v1 gank against her early won't be difficult. Swain, I don't know if he'll have the damage to kill her, but once she hits level 6, when you preferably want to die with all your ultimates up, she can just, pop Leap of Faith and just go completely ham on anyone, which mainly be these guys. So anyone that would try and dive her, just go ham in 3v1. So this is all set up to go basically kill them. And they picked the Scion because, like, okay, so we see they're basically setting up to possibly try and kill us. Scion will be able to counter push well enough to where they'll never be able to aggress far enough on the river, or should never be able to aggress far enough on the up the river to push us under turret and then dive us. And I'll show what I mean, I guess, in location when we get into game. But I think it's a smart, innovative pick. It kind of puts a band-aid over the situation they put themselves in. I didn't even see. I guess it wasn't until they locked in these two that I couldn't see what they might be going for. As far as early game, now late game, it's kind of easy to see. You have Kaisa being able to, yeah, she's close range, but with her E, she can reposition well. She has a lot of damage. She's an 8 right now on a scale of 1 to 10, 80 carries. Probably S tier once she gets to competitive next season, unless they do some more nerfing to her. If they don't touch her, she's going to be like an S tier 80 carry. And they've already touched her a little bit, but it still didn't do a lot. Um, you know, um, God, now I can't remember that one stretch. I can't remember what I'm saying. Oh yeah, I was talking about team fighting and what they're gonna want to do. They're gonna want to basically, he'll probably have unsealed spellbook, so he'll be able to switch to TP. He'll have TP. They're going to basically 1-3-1 you to death with super high mobility. And what they'll do is, if you aggress on them, you'll have a TP here, a probable TP here. By the time mid game comes around, they TP in, or at least he'll be able to realm warp in, and then it's immediately a 5v5, or they outnumber you, and then either they can all run away. Depending on, they have several escape tools, whether it's Karma using her Mantra Shield, him using his Realm Warp if you have to, him popping Demonic Ascension to give you some zone control and give you some peel and allow you to escape. And even says you want to be able to throw Glacial Prison and stop Zac before it can go in. So they have a lot of counter engage that they can deploy if Zac tries to look for an initiation, and then vice versa. They have a Sejuani that can throw out the Glacial Prison. At the same time, Karma can Mantra Shield everyone in, Rise Realm Warp, and then they can, Swain can find his way in the middle of the fight, and it's going to be she finds the initial pick, and everyone else just kind of follows up with damage, and if they need to chase somebody down, Karma's there. Karma's going to be butt buddies with Kaisa, but, that's what supports do, right? I don't see Karma roaming a lot in this one. This is a straight 2v2 bot lane versus these guys. They won't be roaming. It will have to be the rest of the team coming to them, not the other way around. And then vice versa, come back over to this side. They're basically going to be looking to win all their lane matchups. Illaoi has to win against Swain. Azir doesn't have to win against Rise. And in fact, I think I was actually debating this with guys in CompeteLeague when we were watching the game. And let me look this up real quick, because if this is what I think it is, then I'm gonna be extremely annoyed. Uh, let's see. Rise is considered a soft counter to the Azir, so it's not that bad, but at the same time, the fact that you even pick something that was a soft counter, that can be soft countered at any point with a 45% win rate against you, which is not the best, but I mean, it's not like Azir counters Rise to any extent at all. I think they kind of go hand in hand. Yeah, it's like and I feel like it's more because it's one of those mid lane matchups where it can either be non-interactive, or they just clear waves and go about each other's business, or it can be a skill matchup where it's all about Rise being able to play the mini game of dodging the Azir soldiers using his boost of movement speed and shield from his passive, and how that's played around, and how their junglers play around them basically. So I feel like that's the mid lane matchup right now, but it's not like by any means they use the Azir to counter Rise. I think it's a good, adequate answer to Rise, but in a match where you've already decided, hey, I'm picking my top laner and my bottom lane to either survive or win against their bottom lane, you might as well go and try and pick 3 winning lanes, especially when you have counter pick and they pick the Rise before you pick the Azir, and you basically just do that. I'll even look at some counters to Rise that are like applicable that they could have picked. Remember, this is a CompeteLeague, so it should be almost like everything's applicable. Um, you know, so rolling down here, Rise counters that counter Rise. Zillion, holy cow, what is that? How about you stop? Thank you. Okay. But yeah, so okay, so Aurelion Soul. I mean, some of these are like depending on how good you are at the champion. But Rise Runeway Zillion is pretty low. It's a pretty base champion to play. You don't have to do a lot of special stuff on Zillion, to my knowledge. And at the same time, it works because your entire composition is, if it's not trying to win lane, it's trying to keep this lane alive until these guys can come online and start winning you team fights. She's gonna end up split pushing inevitably. Illaoi late game, unless she has an enormous lead in the top side of the map early and can get to her Trinity Force or Black Cleaver, Steric Gauge, those 3 items before her top laner can get a significant gold lead against him, she's going to be on split push duty the entire time. So she's like almost a non-factor in team fights unless she walks up late or they team fight near her and she can walk in and get a leap of faith in and, you know, pop her ultimate in the middle of their team. If not, she's going to be split pushing the entire time, which means Azir's going to be trying to use his soldiers and wave clear to stall out the game. And basically, it's kind of going to be a game of protect the Jhin and protect the Azir in team fights when we fight, because she's not going to really be a non-factor. He's going to be a factor, but not to the extent that I think they need him to be. And I say that because Zach has only one mode, and that's to go in. What they're going to have to do is almost play the opposite game. They don't have to. They do have a lot of engage with the Scion, Jhin ultimate, Azir wall, and Illaoi can follow you up. So if you can find a good ultimate, that would work out. But I just don't think that they can find a good ultimate into this team comp where they have so much mobility. It's going to be really hard for them to find a way into the fight. And that's why I'm saying that they're going to have to kind of play this one passively and either wait for Yulga to make a mistake or wait for the Azir and the Jhin to scale up before they actually can try and look for fights. Because I don't know if Eloteris can get that lead he needs to be a factor in the split push and in team fights. And with the way their team is set up, I don't know if Zach will be able to get into the middle of Yulga to find the fight he wants. And eventually, Silent Ult is great for stuns, but again, mobility. They can dodge this, so it's a lot of factors. I obviously like Yulgood's. Obviously, I like Yulgood's composition a lot better than this. I think you want to misuse their pick and ban. You misuse the power of the counter pick in their pick and ban. I think that especially I just think they misuse the power of red side pick and ban and the counter picks you can get, the bans you can throw out to give yourself a advantage. I mean, obviously I've said it before, some of these picks you can't predict that they can pull out the Swain unless you do your research. Can't predict they can pull out the Rise unless you do your research. You can't even predict they can pull out the Kaisa unless you do your research. But then again, to be a successful team, you gotta do your background work before you go into pick and ban. Otherwise, that's how things slip through the cracks. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get in the game, or try and get in the game as fast as possible. But yeah, their win condition for Uaena is basically gonna be either Zach gets off some really good ultimates to give his top half of the map some gold leads, so that a teleport from the side of Yogud trying to look for a dive would almost be untenable because Swain would be too far behind, Rise would be too far behind, Sejuani would be trying to do damage control for these two, or better yet, Zach would be able to play aggro and track her and keep her from doing said damage control. And then if he can get these guys some gold advantages early and keep mid lane priority around this dude right here and keep himself safe, so he can basically prevent them from speed. If he can prevent BLH from getting a tempo advantage and then therefore accelerating the game for his squad, finding first gank, finding kills, and therefore gold, then maybe they can look to try and like outscale, have Illaoi push, split push to once again stall out the game a little bit more, take objectives, and force them to respond to her pressure wherever she goes, and across the map you make a play, obviously, and then from there it's going to be stalling out, using that to kind of stall out and gain your own advantage until these guys are strong enough to where it's Jinsu's doing massive damage, Azir doing his own massive DPS, and then Sion's just there to be Sion. You know, he's going to help Jin survive lane, hopefully counter push them, which would give Jin the safety to not have to worry about a dive bot lane. He can scale up easily. So a lot of the game is being put on V's shoulders in their early game. Because unless Elo Terrorists or Zika can start carving out their own advantages without his help, he's going to be spending a lot of time managing and controlling this early game on his own by himself. Hate how it does that. I just want to do this. I just want to do that. So here we are, ladies and gentlemen. So this is what I'll wait till they actually get into their lines. They're kind of standardizing the lines. You know, early invades. So no one knows where no one is gonna start. Usually, thing is, because Yule Good didn't get some early wards down, Zach has two possible places he can start. He can either start there at his red or his blue and go blue, and he can proc blue, get that low, and then also proc Gromp and take them both at the same time. It's a strategy that jungles have been using on Olaf, but if you're really good at Zac, you can do it as well and speed yourself up a little bit. Or you can start his Raptors and do the typical Raptors red blue scuttle clear. But because Yulgood didn't get any wards there, they don't know. So I think that's good for the side of Uaena, that their Zac is going untracked. At the same time, they're not able to track Sejuani, but Sejuani usually starts her red anyways. And it obviously, as a jungler, depends on who you want to gank first. She has a lot of options who to gank first, and I believe her starting red means she's probably going to try and look for the blue. Either she's going to go the red Raptors to blue, or she's going to go red Wolves blue, take this Skull Crab, and then she can try and look for a gank in the mid lane if it's available. I mean, as I said before, that dude Azir is kind of hard to gank, especially if you don't get there before he has Shreema Shuffle. Or she can go to the top lane and try and punish this Illaoi in a matchup she's already going to be hurting in the top side. I would rather her just go ahead and try and punish that. And if you're not going to punish that, then go ahead and do this clear, get some deep vision. And if Zac's not there, take his Krugs and then go for a full clear and recall. And then maybe look for a gank again. And then that's when you start looking for a gank. You might go clear your own Krugs if they're still there, and then maybe look for a gank bot, or you go clear your Gromp and look for a gank top. So those are the options they have, or he has. But I think if you want to use this conjecture, they should be able to tell where they might be starting, and V can act accordingly. But you know, sometimes you can't think these people are too smart. Sometimes, you know. Conjecture only gets you so far. So it looks like obviously V is going to be doing that start. And Sejuani will be starting her blue. Take a look at starting items. This is interesting. He did go the old Jin build of starting Longsword first. You know, some of you might know, Jin no longer, or most Jins no longer go Yomus. They just go ahead and rush their Essence Reaver first to get their crit item. So Longsword will help him get to that build faster and also allow him to have some damage in lane against Kai'Sa, although he won't have the sustain, which I worry about, because just because they have the counter push doesn't mean that they have the ability to poke back. He did go Comet, and you saw that did a lot of damage. But if Team of the Tank and IWQ play this lane right and don't do what they're doing, like right here, they're stacking on top of each other. So not only do you land fourth bouncing grenade on them and Comet, also Sion can just walk up right here, push some minions into them and land some good damage. So IWQ's already half health before laning phase has even really started. And you know, it's a counter push poking lane. You know, these two are they're gonna look to just basically poke each other out of lane. And me personally, I think you can outplay the Scion Jin poke lane with mechanics. Because other than the bouncing grenade, most of Jin's abilities are skill shots like Deadly Flourish, which helps him set up more poke, things of that nature, and even bouncing grenade. If you know where to position, which is usually like a good 200 units about behind like a minion. So if he bouncing grenades these 3 minions and it hits that guy and you're standing all the way back here, it should not proc to you. You might even have to stand a little bit further, but you can just walk backwards and it should not proc to you. And then Karma, we all know how annoying Karma's mantra Q is, or Q in general is. The radius and missile range is super hard to dodge. The only poke that they don't have real control over for Yulgood's bot lane is Timmy the Tank's and Cathian Rain, because it just divides among targets evenly. So, but even then, if she decides to get close enough, she can poke them down. Plus, her passive, she can get off the 5 auto attacks to proc it. Does a considerable amount of damage. So, all in all, I mean, if you can't dodge a skill shot, then RNG will have the push. But if you can dodge the Roar of the Slayer skill shot, if you can stay out of range of Bouncing Grenade and the Deadly Flourish, then you can survive this lane and possibly look for some counter poke of your own with the Karma that way. And earlier, what I was talking about when I said that they don't want them to get to a certain point, what I mean is, so they're sitting basically middle even river right now, and I'll use the mini map as well. I'll use the pen and the mini map. So they're sitting like at this line right here. This is even in the middle of the lane. Right. Well, on the mini map, I'll use a smaller pin because otherwise you can't see anything. If you're Jin and Scion, you want to keep it up here, or you want to keep it best case scenario right there and keep them basically right in front of your in their tower. You're not even looking to try and set up a dive of any kind. Not right now, at least. Maybe once Zach hits level 6, maybe even level 5, and Azir hits level 6 and can stream a shuffle, push them back into you. You look for a dive. Or you can even, if you want to be inventive, have them stream and shuffle them and then use the stream and shuffle, the Emperor's Divide, as a wall for San to ult into. But mainly, you just want to keep that pressure so that this guy up here and this guy right here, and especially this guy right here, can't find a way to dive you once they hit their level 6 spikes, ultimate spikes, and you have 1 or 2. Maybe if they even want to go overkill and secure first tower, first brick, you have all 5 of them use globals. Obviously, Sejuani doesn't have a global, but she'll probably be on that side of the map set to play anyways, and come and dive you. So your worst case scenario is ending up. Let me erase all this crud. Your worst case scenario is ending up back here. You know, right there under your turret, where you can't get out of lane, because if you're back there, it's gonna be really easy for Sejuani to come around this way. They have TP bush. They have a TP ward like right there, or in this bush up here. Or maybe if they can get one into the tri bush as well, and have someone TP there, and then just dive you, and you're basically dead. There's no way for you as a Jin and a Scion to really get out of that alive, or at least without Jin dying. So, yeah, I hate pauses. This is great. I just want to fast forward. There. Beyond the pause. No kills have gone down good. I might miss some jungle pathing, but that's okay. Alright, so you already see Zach heading up to the top lane to help out the Sejuani. You kind of knew this was going to happen. Colbox also playing a pretty bit disrespectively. He's going to die here, actually. That's... Now I have to go back and see what set this up. Grr. Too far. Okay, so I think this is far enough so where they're out of the pause? I don't know. Hopefully the pause didn't last that long. So Zir will have the early push a little bit over the Rise, just because he's a Zir and can poke from such long range. But once Rise gets his QE, he'll be fine. And yeah, so as you saw there with Tentacle Smash, Coldbox can't dodge a skill shot. I think it's just a little bit of him playing disrespectfully as well. You saw in the last game when they played Flame Out of Love, he took a lot of poke from Ornn when he didn't have to. I think he just sustained pretty well from Cho'Gath. There were times where he died to ganks where he was just too far pushed up, and he didn't have to be that far pushed up. It's not like they were looking for a play up there. And yeah, you want to keep Ornn in the turret, but when he's just chunking you to like half health because you're just playing disrespectfully with minion count, then that's a no-go. So yeah, he gets hit with a tentacle smash. And she's gonna push him in naturally early as well because of the tentacle smash. And at this stage in the game, it clears waves faster than the Death's Hand, especially because this does more damage to minions at this point in the game, and the cooldowns are basically about the same. So both lanes taking a little bit of unnecessary poke. So, and Zach didn't actually do the Gromp start. He actually just went ahead and just doing his blue to wool straight to his red. So that will set him up for this coming gank. We already saw it, which kind of sucks, but that will set him up for that. So, and there's no way that they can know. There's no way that You'll Good can know. So you can't really blame this gank on Coolbox too much because he's had no ability with this pressure to actually walk up and get wards. And Sejuani just got done clearing. Did she just get done clearing her? No, she. Oh, okay. So instead of going her red to wolves to blue, and then Scuttle Crab to help get river control and vision, she backtracked to go for a full clear onto him, and I guess she went to Raptors and decided to go do that first. Raptors, or she's going to Scuttle Crab. One or two. So she decided to trade away, I want to say, vision on the bottom half of the map to give her bottom lane more safety. Even though they're pushed in, so there's not much that Zach necessarily can do as far as tower dives go to a 2v2 bot lane. Actually, no, he's even more aggressive. He just went for a gank, period. Which personally, I guess you can do. You just have to pull it off because she is what, level 3. You don't pull off this gank, which now that I'm seeing the progression of this game and how it went before we got to that point, I'm going to go ahead and guess what pushed Zach to gank top is she goes to gank bot lane. It obviously doesn't work because no kills were on the board at that point. He didn't even go for the scuttle into a gank. He went for Raptors first, and as soon as they see her appear bot lane, he heads up, might even take Scuttle Crab, and then heads right here into that spot right there, and he ganks. So it's basically kind of like a counter gank to. Not really, it's basically a trade off for the gank in bot lane, and for BLH, he's an aggressive jungler, so it's not a surprise. It's just a really big risk because if that gank doesn't go off well, and you don't either get some lane priority or force them to recall and give your lane an advantage somehow, and you don't get anything out of it, basically what I'm trying to say is then it leaves your other lanes to be punished like they did. So we should see that unfold pretty shortly. Yeah. They get a flash. That's all they really get for it. See vision on jungler, so he's gonna go clear Raptors. Cause now they know what side of the map you're on and everything. They know you're at your red buff. They don't, or your red side. They don't know if you're clearing jungle over there or anything because they don't have vision. But they know you're there, and now V knows how long it should take you to get back up to your top side. So he will take Scuttle Crab, and then he's gonna go for this gank. Coldbox didn't dodge test of will, and even walked up afterwards to try and get poke. So he didn't just try and get out of range of it before it chunked him down a little bit. So I think that's just Coldbox playing a little bit disrespectfully. But gets pushed in, as all I will do. He does land some good poke again, but it's just not worth it. Like, you have to be able to dodge those tests of will. Like, LI's biggest thing in lane is if you can't dodge her poke, then she's obviously going to just bully the crap out of you. And that's, I mean, that's what they'd be prepared for, is just be prepared to play the test of will mini game, because her biggest combo rotation, I mean, at least back when I was playing LOI, was you start off early just throwing out tentacle smashes, and then it's a lot of, okay, your first thing you do in a rotation is you throw out the test of will, try and catch him, chunk him down with the test of will, and you just keep landing tentacle smashes. And you get them super low from those two. The tentacles on the tower harass him anyways, and he just wasn't able to play that mini game, and now he is caught up under turret. So I guess I can't really knock the Illaoi pick right now for Elo Terrace, because he's winning the matchup in it, even though he should be being countered by Kobox. So I'm gonna go for this gank. Good job by Rise, having a Zero pushed in at least. See, you can't dodge it again. And this is really good, because he walks forward to try and get into the trade, and it's not a pure tower dive, but they force his flash, they kill him, and now that's going to put him even farther behind the Illaoi, because he's going to probably have to TP back to lane. Because I think he has the one wave that was there crashing in for the dive, and he also has the wave coming in back here that's going to crash in another 20 seconds or so, I want to say. 10 seconds maybe. My sense time is awful. The good news for him, though, is Illaoi wins Ignite first to his TP. So unless she goes ahead and automatically trades it in as soon as she recalls, which even when she does, it will have a cooldown, he should be able to get back in the lane a lot faster than she can, and therefore he can at least farm up the gold so that he's not so heavily punished by that death, as he should be, which is one of the things why I don't like top laners taking Ignite anymore. And even after the buffs, it still doesn't justify it being taken in top lane, in my opinion, because unless you can guarantee by like having the Zac come by and punish Kobox as soon as he TPs back to lane and just be there, like maybe go clear your Krugs. Got deep vision already, so good for him. Go get your Krugs and then come back and like wait for the TP, or get Krugs recalled and come back after TP. Unless you punish him again as soon as he teleports, that teleport alone mitigates what he just lost, because he can at least catch up somewhat in gold by just being able to get back to lane first and farm first, and then push you in and adversely probably, if it takes Elo Terrace long enough, push him in and make him lose farm. So it's always still not a poor trade-off for the enemy top laner when you take Ignite, because you just can't get back to lane fast enough, faster than he can, to continue punishing him for it. But at the very least, for Uaena, it'll force him to use his TP, which means that they can't set up, which means Yulgood can't set up a play around this dragon, because remember, Uaena loves to set up fights around neutral objectives. At least that's the style I saw the last game. They might show me a new style this game, but it's what I like. It's what I've seen they like to do. Your RC Sejuani, though, hovering down the bottom side of the map trying to respond, and they did get Silence Flash earlier, so he could be a potential kill. But once again, it's going to be about execution. Can they fully execute the gank? I think the last gank was just poorly executed on their part, because I believe obviously Sejuani hit a brick wall called Scion on her initial charge, and then the Karma couldn't land the slow from her Mantra Q, which then she couldn't land the tether to follow up. So if they can execute this one right, they might be able to respond, give Team of the Tank and WQ a lead, and then also give them some lane pressure around the dragon, which is the only neutral objective left. So we'll have to see how it goes. Erase that. There we go. It's gonna be really hard though, because she doesn't have ult yet. Yeah, see, they go in. I mean, they're not. They get damage now, which is great. They're not gonna. Oh, they finished the kill. Nice flash by Timmy the Tank. Is he gonna get out though? Is the question. Ooh, yeah, that's disappointing. If they had been able to get out of that with just trading, with just killing the Jhin and getting out happy, that would have been fine. Instead, they end up trading 80 carries, which means that they don't really gain or lose anything. It will allow Sejuani some time to possibly take the Rift Scuttler and maybe get some more deep vision, or not more, but get some deep vision onto into V's blue side jungle. But that's the only thing they can now get out of that. Maybe if Timmy the Tank lives, he can recall and they can go to Rush Dragon before Happiness respawns, or he'll respawn at least late enough to where they can't respond to the dragon being taken. But because of that, now I mean their goal lead gets doesn't get diminished because they traded that kill. Um, they can't push a vision advantage outside of Rift Scuttler. They just don't really gain anything out of that gank like they need to. Like when you gank like that to respond to a top lane gank, like the one V pulled off, you need to gain something worthwhile for it. Otherwise, it was basically a waste of time. You know, especially when you trade 80 carries. They could have traded Scion, or they could have traded Karma for Jin. That would have been worthwhile, because then that means you still have Timmy the Tank to be able to roam up with you to get deep vision. Not that Karma can't. It's just that Karma at this stage of the game, I think even a Scion and Zac can win the 2v2 versus Karma and Sejuani right now. I might be wrong, but in my mind, I think they can win it. At the very least, it also takes away the ability for you to be able to 2v2 the drag with your AD carry there. So I just don't think that the most they can get out of this is some vision, but they don't really give Timmy the Tank a lead because, well, they might. He might have a small gold lead because he got the kill while Jin only got the assist, but that's also mitigated by the fact that Happiness already bought one of his first components for his Essence Reaver, so he's not gonna have to start from a completely new start to his build because he already has the first Essence Reaver. He's probably already close to getting his not Coal Hammer, whatever that thing is called. His hammer, or yeah, his hammer already. So it just depends on how we see the back and buys, but personally, I don't think. Yeah, see, or he sold it for BF Sword, which is still fine. He now has BF Sword 2 pots, and actually, I take that back. I don't think he should have sold it. I think he should have just finished his Caulfield's Hammer. If he has enough gold for BF Sword, he has enough for Caulfield's Hammer. Caulfield's Hammer, I believe, gives you cooldown reduction. I want to say it does. Caulfield's. I'm getting hungry. I think. Yeah, see, Caulfield's gives you cooldown reduction, and yeah, while although compared to a a BF sword, it doesn't give you as much attack damage. I think the cooldown reduction for Jin at least is a good enough return because it just allows you to push the Kaisa in more with your Scion, which relieves pressure for you, and you still get some good attack damage returns on it. And you can probably go buy another item as well, because now Caulfield's 1100. Sold Longsword to get that. He was left with 50 gold, so therefore, um, just go buy Caulfield. You have 250 gold left, so maybe you go buy a ward. I just think there's more opportunity cost gained in just buying Caulfields for Jin and rolling out than it is trying to match the Kaisa, especially because you can't match her because she has Doran's Blade and you don't. So she'll still always have the advantage in damage whether you both have the same item or not, um, because she bought the Doran's Blade. But regardless, as you see, all they could really get right here was some wards. They got a pair of wards right here. They couldn't get rid together, and I think they roamed up. If it wasn't already there, they got this ward right there. And that's about it from that trade. I think the only thing gained for Yulgood is a slight advantage in gold in their bottom lane for the Kaisa, which for them isn't really slight. Like, I say slight, but I only say that because the number figure between them isn't that big, but the fact she's able to buy a BF sword, still has Doran's Blade, while the Jin literally decided to go back and sell his longsword instead of just buying Caulfields and maybe getting some more pots for sustain, or maybe getting some wards, you know. maybe could have sat on that gold in Fountain and gotten himself a cloth armor, or maybe gotten himself another longsword. She'll still always have the health, attack damage, and lifesteal advantage over him in lane because of that. So I think they went out in that trade in the microcosm that is the bot lane 2v2. I think that's big for them, but in the overall aspect of how the game and the flow of the game is going, I don't think it was a big win for them. Nothing really changed. Uaena is still sitting on a gold lead. This Alawi already has her Phage, so she'll be able to keep spamming those Qs. And if he's going to keep getting hit by these tentacles, she'll just be able to keep using those plus Corrupting Flash to sustain back up. So, you know. And Zach went ahead and went down and got the Scuttler for more vision safety. So now Sejuani is going to have a difficult time actually trying to find a gank from the river because of that. As long as they ward correctly, which he's about to go do, I have faith in him. He's actually going to look for a gank too, which is really smart to keep the pressure up because remember, Sejuani was doing that in response to him. So right now he has the tempo advantage, and being the good Zach he is, he's going to keep pushing that because yes, Zach early has has to play safe in his jungle, but Sejuani's not an early game aggressive jungler to come push him. So if you don't have that early game aggressive jungler to push him and force him to play defensively in his own jungle, and even possibly try and force ill-advised ganks to try and mitigate the gold he's losing if you're able to take some of his jungle camps, then that's when Zach just gets to do what he wants and gank from weird angles and affect your side lanes and ruin the time of your laners. So it's what he's about to do. I don't think he has level 6 though, and they're too far pushed in. But he might look for a dive here anyways. It's gold plat. Looking at items, Rise finally got his tier. Not finally, but he has his tier, so he's gonna be sitting pretty in lane right now. Even CS top lane. Alawi is smashing Kobox on the Swain, which leads me to believe that maybe the Swain wasn't really a gank in the mid lane. I'm gonna finish the thought real quick. Maybe that leads me to believe that Swain wasn't really a pick that Kobox was comfortable on, and maybe they outplayed themselves because maybe they realized that it's kind of a weird thing when you pick something to be a flex pick, but then you're like, oh wait, but our champion pools aren't that big. What if they pick something that forces me, like when they pick the Alawi, to actually play the Swain, which I still think they picked the Alawi after they pick Rise. So maybe it was a case where Ween Hunter was like, nah, dude, I need something comfortable instead of playing the Swain. He was like, okay, put me on the Swain, it's fine. Either way, it's obvious that Kobox isn't too comfortable on the champion because he is losing his counter matchup to it, which is never good. We're about to see a gank here in the mid lane. I want to see what leads up to this. Seeker will let me do that. I think I went a little bit too far back. Yep. So odd. Alright, so I'm right there. Is there no way for me just to, like, I don't know. Alright, so what I can only surmise from the way Sejuani jungle pathing is, and also I believe she comes through with, we'll see. Nope, she doesn't come through with any buffs. So yeah, what she's done is she's gone ahead, based, cleared her wolves and her Gromp, took Rift Scuttler, went in, got Deep Vision. She didn't steal Zach's red. It must not have been up because it's not on her right now. And as soon as she got that Deep Vision, she immediately saw the opportunity to gank mid lane and pad all the way down through here. What they want right here is, I mean, you shouldn't be able to get a kill because Zika should have Stream and Shuffle back up in like no time. Let's see, did he use it to go aggressive? Okay, so now I can kind of track the jungle pathing going backwards. Yeah, so she. Oh, this is too far backwards, I think. Yeah, this is too far backwards. Curses. Because see, it's going by like these stupid little stamps right here, so I can't really go too far back. But I think that he has. I think he used the soldier to push up, so he might not have the shuffle right now. That's why he has the flash, because he used it earlier to actually try and go aggressive on a Uaena Jr. Uaena Jr. just pumped a whole bunch of magic damage into him. He's like, holy crap, I have to get out of here. I don't have Streamer Shuffle, so I had to flash over the wall. And Zach is right here, thank God. So Zach should be able to actually follow up on this. And I don't think they can turn this because Zeke is just too low and he doesn't have flash. He does have cleanse though, so he can cleanse Uaena Jr. if he tries to room prison him. And we'll just see how this goes. Yeah, I remember watching this because I was like, Zach, don't go back in. All right. So to talk about all that for a quick second, since we're gonna be at a point anyways where I don't want to be, but for whatever reason, it's doing these stupid anchor things. Anyways, so he uses his Rima Shuffle to go aggressive. They seize on that opportunity, trying to engage on him while he doesn't have. Oh my god! The shuffle. This I think it's called Shifting Sands or something like that. While he doesn't have the Shifting Sands available to escape, and so he has to use flash like he should. I mean, it's a respect flash, and the Sejuani follows through anyways. Now, what Zach does is instead of oh, that's not the play for whatever reason. Yeah, I don't know why it's doing this, but what Zach does when we come up here, instead of using this moment to, if you're gonna go in, try and go on the rise while Sejuani's over the wall, force her to hop over the wall at you, and then you can smack them both together, make them kiss, and then Zika's safe in the back. He decides to wait around the corner and then try and look for a gank, which then, by that time, it's like BLH is like, holy crud, he's around the wall. Uaena Jr. has enough time to basically extrapolate that he's going to try and land right here, because as they walk this way, he's probably thinking, okay, BLH is going to try and walk back this way maybe, and they're going to just walk right here from me. I guess that's what he's thinking. Or he's either thinking that they're going to keep going here and he'll jump right here, and they're gonna, while he's trying to run away from me, they're going to go right there. He's going to keep running this way, and so I can try and maybe catch them right here. Instead, that's not what happens, and he goes in, and I remember talking to him, I was like, just don't go in, because Zika's too low and doesn't have flash, you can't really follow up on anything you do, because BLH has flash, we know Junior has flash, and all they have to do is, even after you CC them, all they have to do is flash past you, or they can even flash your elastic slingshot, and they can either go aggressive, flash past you right here, finish the permafrost stacks, and he's dead. Same thing, he can just flash right here, get here, room prison, and he's dead. Or they can just flash away, and then you're engaged ruined, and then you're stuck right here. And Sejuani, if she's flash, she can stay right here, and they can still just come back at you because you already used your last slingshot to get out. You have flash, but then you don't want to have to waste flash to get over this wall anyways. Or you can flash this way back toward Azir. Not really advisable, but the point is that there are just too many escape avenues and summoner spells, flashes namely, up for the side of Yulgood for this to be a good play from V, because they can escape, and then once he's in and they escape, then they can just turn on him and kill him, and the rest of his team is following up. But between Uaena Jr. and BLH this early, they're gonna kill him or at least chunk him low before his team gets here to where they can't interact, and it's a 2v2 that turns into a 2v4 because these guys are already pinging MIA. They're gonna run up here and just join the fight, and these two dunderheads will be too low to join, so it'll be a 2v4 at the end of the day that they're going to lose. So I think that's how it plays out basically. It's boop, walks away, he walks back in, stun, 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 dead, dead, dead. V doesn't flash away yet. They do actually catch Uaena Jr. Happiness was able to roam up fast enough and hit him with a deadly flourish, and Zika goes back in, sensing blood in the water. But once again, Uaena Jr. just flashes away. He can't get to him, and then now you're stuck between a little bit of a rock and a hard place, depending on how hard you'll want to go. Because Sejuani not super low. She can try and come all the way back around and join this fight. Get here, hop over the wall, or flash over the wall. I don't believe she has ultimate yet, but join the fight. And Zac is still too low. I mean, look at that health bar. He's like he's living on the edge, living on a prayer. He's still too low to join you, so she can immediately loop around and make it a 3v2, where Sion either ult, oh, he doesn't have an ult yet. Like, their bot lane doesn't even have ult yet. So, yeah, they shouldn't be joining in without ult anyways, because, I mean, Jhin can, because he got there fast enough to lay down damage. I hope he didn't use heal to actually get there. I don't know if the directed camera was on the bot lane and maybe they got engaged in a 2v2 and he had to heal anyways, but if he used heal to speed up, that's a really bad decision. But regardless, yeah, they don't have ult yet, so Sion can't get away. He can't knock them up and, you know, buy them some time. Jhin can't pop his curtain call from afar and help Sion, so there's no real way for them to escape other than using flash, and the only one that has flash right here is Jhin. So this can get turned into a 3v2 really easily, and then they just die. And then I will seed Baron, or not Baron, I would seed Cloud Drake over. And BLH actually goes back in here, gets a flash. That's a good job, because he knows that they are just not tanky enough and healthy enough to take a fight. And he can take some of that damage from Azir, so good job. I believe what happens next, I can't remember what happened. We'll just watch. Yeah, he ults in. Yeah, now I remember. He ulted in a spot where they could see him. And you never, ever, ever, ever want to openly Rise ult in a spot where people can see you unless you, A, want to try and get them off of an objective like Baron or Dragon, or B, are just trying to check vision on said objectives, or trying to check vision anywhere. You never actually want to ult in vision, because then, I mean, you see what happens. I love you. He's not like low enough. Plus, he has cell division, I believe. So he's not low enough. Yeah, he has cell because these wings here mean he has the rebirth. So he's not low enough to full out die, and they don't have enough damage to burst his bloblets out before Azir can completely just chunk them out. Azir's in a safe spot right here, and because Rise decided to do this. Rise has a moment coming out of ult where he's targetable and he can't fight back. And so Zac times it perfectly, goes in, lands right on top of his head. He's going to make these two kiss right here. Boop, boop, mwah. And then Azir's just able to just pump out free damage on a Weenie Hut Jr. who, in that trade, did a lot of damage, but still took a lot of damage himself. So he's not like the healthiest person to even be ulting in anyways. So the fight that they just basically won, and he could have pushed a tempo advantage by possibly collapsing on the bottom laners instead. Oops, terrible thing. Instead of taking the advantage they gained and taking these two low and then collapsing on the bottom laners and trying to find a 4v2 before it becomes a 4v4, because V probably would have joined knowing he has cell division. Don't know if Azir would have joined the full 4v4, but we know he would have. So instead of, you know, counting on making a 4v2 into a 4v3, possibly 4v4, they try and go for the 2v2 again, being greedy, thinking they can go for these kills. And I don't think it turns out well in their favor. Yeah, it doesn't. Zika does go down. Karma does respond first, though. However, they do finally make it. But I think happiness is on the back end as well. Cell division comes through. I want to see how this plays out. And he still gets out. So effectively, what could have been a possible 1-for-0, maybe even a 2-for-0. And if you play the collapse perfectly, now Karma sped herself up to get there a lot faster. I couldn't really tell where they were from this bottom half of the picture. My screen is really, really small, so I couldn't tell if they were still back here somewhere or if they're up here. But either way, I think she mantra E'd them both, or at least she sped herself up to get to the fight faster. But instead of them just collapsing on Uaena's bottom lane and killing these two while they're all alone in the bottom half of the jungle and then taking Cloud Drake off of it, they continue to try and take the fight in the middle. And yeah, oh wait, I'm talking about the wrong team again. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Yeah, these guys were collapsing. Yeah, I'm talking about the team. So instead of just taking the fight in river and getting that possible numbers matchup and possible winning taking Cloud Drake. They continue to chase in the mid lane. They do get Azir, but then they also lose Ryze, and they lose a whole bunch of health and lane priority right here in the mid lane, and they can't get anything off it. And this was kind of a theme of last game. I think Flame Out of Love wasn't as good as at executing and capitalizing off of it. Yulgood's propensity to overstay their welcome, be a little bit greedy, and instead of being able to turn situations to their advantage, they end up, if you know, usually it's not as extreme as throwing an entire lead, but they end up putting themselves in a position where they just come out even on a trade where they could have actually gotten a pretty big advantage and then pushed it pretty hard. You know, they could have come out with 1 or 2 kills, a Cloud Drake, extra vision, and then maybe pressuring a turret if they are bold enough to stay that long. But instead, they have to settle for a 1-for-1. Everyone's too low to take Cloud Drake. They have to back off, and so Uaena is still in a good position where they have a gold lead. Ilaoi's still smashing Swain in the top lane, and the world just keeps cycling on. Now they do get his flash at the back end because I don't know why he walked forward, but maybe he thought he could get some extra damage. I don't know. I think he was trying to look for the force shot on top of the Kaisa. Not the best option to walk forward into a Karma, especially if San isn't willing to sit in front of you and take that Q damage. Shouldn't even throw a Mantra Q, just do a regular Q, so he could have stepped in front of it and taken it, but he didn't, so whatever. And even off those kills, like, I think Ryze had an item advantage in the mid lane over the, because he had a CS advantage, so I think he had a little item advantage over Azir, but just giving over that kill to Azir and not having Ryze get a kill just allows Azir to get that stinger, which now he's really comfortable in lane because he can wave clear faster than the Ryze can with the stinger. He has good mana. He can basically take control of mid lane priority, or at least make it so that Ryze can't take mid lane priority over him. As usual, once again, Elo Terrace just destroying Colebox, keeping him pushed on the turret on this Ilaoi pick. So yeah, so now he can just match that push, like, so he doesn't even have to like worry about getting pushed under his turret because he now has the attack speed from Stinger to hold that down. The bot lane will have push priority just because Jin had to recall, but he now has his Caulfield's hammer compared to the Kaisa, who only has a longsword because I don't think she even backed off that early play. So now he's in a power position as well. He's pushed in, but I mean, at this point in the game, like we said before the game started, now you're not even worried about a bot lane dive because Yulgood's not in a position to bot lane dive, and they're gonna gank Colebox again. It's actually a really good gank. At least really good position of the elastic slingshot because it forced him to flash away because it put it right behind him, so he couldn't just walk away from it, and it forced his ultimate and it forced him to actually flash away. So that was actually a pretty good elastic slingshot from Zac. So once again, they burn his flash. He's not super low because he got the sustain from Demonic Ascension, but now they can look for a repeat gank, or they can look for this Rift Herald, which I believe will be spawning fairly soon. It already has the hourglass on it. Sejuani's in the area, so maybe they could look for a 2v2 when they go for that objective. Maybe Sejuani can look for a counter gank, but I don't think Colebox can help her complete it. This Alawi has Phage, has her ultimate, has Ignite, and you don't even have Demonic Ascension to heal up anymore. So you're basically out of combat summoners, out of your ultimate. There's no way to really gank her. So now all Sejuani can do is try and go over to a red and maybe gank another lane. But oh wait, your bot lane's being aggressed on because they pushed up too far, and now Sion and Jin are just going to butt blast them. I want to go backwards to kind of see the beginning of this engage. Stop doing this. Stop it. Stop. Like, stop. This is really, really annoying, guys. Because it, like, won't let me just zoom forward. So we might just have to watch this all over again because it won't let me fast forward because of these stupid little seek buttons. Is there, like, a setting I can use? No. Like, I don't know where these came from, but they're really, it's like every single time I pause it, that's what it does. And it's really, really annoying. It's annoying the crud out of me because it makes it hard to just go back and forth. Next time I'll just keep using YouTube, and it'll be like whatever. Oh, he canceled Nato. How unfortunate. I think if he, I think it all looking at that minute detail, I think if he doesn't cancel that auto and can actually follow through with that auto, he gets to his 4th shot faster. Maybe actually can kill her faster, or at least kill her. Period. And actually, Kaisa does get a back off here, so she just recalled and just didn't have enough gold. He had more gold than her, so he got his call field instead of her getting her to be able to match, and so she can only get a longsword. And I think that's another benefit, a side benefit of him going the longsword early. I still don't like him selling it, but the fact he didn't have to buy a Dorn shield, meaning he didn't have to waste as much gold, means he gets some gold a little bit faster. So, and the crazy thing is, I even think as he goes for red, I think they even see Zach on the top side of the map. Which I don't think is Colebox being disrespectful when his gang comes. He's already pushed in anyways. I just don't think, like, once again, my nose is getting stuffed for no reason. But most teams, when you see the enemy jungler on the top side, as the sword should have caught him on the top side right here, and you know you're pushed in, it's a Zac. So either your jungler has to come help you ward this bush to try and see him roam through, or you ward this tri-bush right here, because that's his most, these are the 2 bushes. You are being ganked from that bush one time, but these 2 are the bushes that Zac is most effective from ganking when you're pushed in this far and they want to try and go for a dive. So that's one thing that I would say that's a note, is like, the Sejuani has to help the Swain ward out, because you see the Zac on the top side of the map if you're paying attention to the mini map. So you know he's on this side. So you know the next lanes he's going to gank is either mid lane, which is pretty pushed in. Ryze doesn't have any summons. He doesn't have ultimate, so Ryze could be a target. But Ryze already has his bush warded. He probably needs a ward over here as well. But if you can't get there, you can't get there. Or if you don't have the wards, so be it. But this is where jungle warding, your jungler helping you ward, comes into a lot of play. Especially in a lane where your Karma's not going to roam to get wards. That's not in this quadrant of the jungle right here. Like, if it's not this quadrant of jungle, or maybe she's being aggressive and bold this quadrant of the jungle, Karma's not coming, like, all the way up here and up here to help you ward. It's going to be up to Sejuani to help you ward out and keep her lane safe with warding, control wards, like, and, I mean, at this point, anyways, I don't know if many pro junglers would have this control ward still here. But if you bought a controller, which he does have a control ward right here, you've seen him. Now you can immediately go ahead and transfer that control ward to right here or in there, and help your Swain out. Swain has 1 ward, so if you ward the lane bush, he can ward the tri bush, and vice versa. So that way he's safe. And then Ryze, I don't think had any wards, but you still have your yellow trinket bot. So once you drop that control ward, you'll go and help Ryze ward right here, and you keep your lane safe from this Zac, because now you're on the back foot on tempo. So now this Zac is going to be looking for any opportunity he can get to gank you hard. So now you're trying to ward off the aggression of the Zac, and that's the best way to do it, is just from good vision. And without good vision, stuff like what we saw earlier, where Kobox gets ganked again and has to waste his ultimate and his flash, that's what happens. So we talked about this, where he gets to push in, yada yada yada, blah blah blah. Cloud Drake still is not the map, although it's giving you in combat movement speed now. It's still not the highest priority of Drake's, so I'm not really surprised. And you see, okay, so she goes up. She actually got Rip Sculler warding, and she used her control ward mid because she was looking for a gank mid. Which is fine, because like I said, Azir actually doesn't have a flash zone. He has cleanse, but he doesn't have flash. And I think they actually went for the gank. Yeah, they went for the gank and he used cleanse. So you can see that he just used his cleanse right there, and that's what prompts Zac to actually go for this gank as well. I think he was already headed for it anyways, I want to say, but it just prompted him even more to initiate it. See, I'm missing the fight that I want to see. No, because it's going to use this stupid thing against me. Oh, not again. Oh, how do I get rid of these things? I don't want them. I don't want them so bad. Is there like a setting I can use? Oh man. Oh well. I can't hit fast forward. Or I can. Oh wow, well that worked. Good. I don't know how it worked, but it worked, finally. Um so we get to skip that fight again. Get to once again look at their pathing. But yeah, so now we have more information that the Sejuani actually tried to go for a gank mid. She did get Azir's cleanse, but then on the backside, and this is what I like actually about what Uaena did. They realized their Azir was getting punished because I'm assuming BLH wanted to either try and look for a gank or at least want to try and waste the cleanse somehow and maybe follow through. Even though Azir still had Emperor's Divide and Stream of Shuffle, so it's not the most optimal gank in the world, but considering that their bot the enemy bot lane wasn't even there anymore, you're on the other side of the map, like what can you do? You're trying to match tempo with Zac. You kind of had to look for a gank somewhere now. Like, I'm pretty sure BLH was feeling the pressure right now because he's like, okay, so this Zac has been everywhere. He's ganked twice. I've only ganked once with no real success. I had to find some sort of advantage. Rise was the best one. It's also like a protective gank because it's like I'm gonna gank your mid laner before you can gank mine because mine has no suns, but I'm gonna hit yours first. So he has a cleanse. He gets away. And then Zac immediately goes, "Well, I'm gonna go ahead and go top like I was gonna go anyways." And he goes top, ganks Swain. So Swain is out of a flash and an ultimate, and Zac tempo advantage, yay. So I don't think Swain should TP back, but he might have to TP back to lane. But I mean, if you're Sejuani, I still think you use that ward. And she did put a ward down, or was that her ward? I think that might have been Swain's ward. So she didn't even put a ward down for Swain. I think that's something imperative you have to do before leaving. Because if you know you're gonna go mid anyways, then you leave a ward for your Swain because you already know that Zac is on the top side of the map. So his only lane that he can try and trade gank for gank with his top lane, you have to help your Swain by warding over the wall. Yes, he gives away where you are, but at the same time, I mean, it's like a trade-off because then maybe the Azir doesn't respond to you placing that ward. Maybe he does. You could even have Swain walk backwards to almost fake as if he walked away to ward and then come back. And I don't think he loses a lot of farm for it at that point because the wave was still not under turret back at that point. So I think if you coordinate, you can pull that off and still have some anonymity. Either way, though, I mean, you just have to be prepared for this gank to come to the top lane, and there's not much Kobox can do about this because I mean it's a Zac. So I'm about to see what happened here in the bottom lane. Um, did he use ultimate to get down there, or maybe he just caught Kai'Sa in a bad trade? Gank, Birdie Birds. Yeah, okay, so he used ultimate and hit Kai'Sa just straight in the face because that's just being over aggressive for whatever reason. Yeah, they get the 2v2. This is good for them. So good. Nice dodge though. Oh yeah, he cleans up still. So, alright, Kai'Sa, if you're gonna be pushed up that far, you just can't be pushed up that far because you don't know if San has ultimate yet or not. You don't have a wave to try and mitigate anything from his chart. Like, not like waves mitigate anything anyways, but I mean, you don't have a wave to fight into. In fact, he was fighting into a small minion wave from them. You're just too far pushed up without karma as well. And Sion just rushes through, smacks her in the face, gets 2v2 because they're just too far pushed up, and they're able to continue the chase. So that was just a 2v2 blunder from the side of You'll Good. It wasn't like happiness or innovation set up anything that way. They didn't bait them in. They didn't um do anything special. There wasn't a big mechanical outplay there. It was just You'll Good playing that poorly, being too far up in their lane without knowing where Sion was. Because I mean, he didn't even have to come from that angle. Like, hypothetically, you had to play safe because he can come from back here. He could have gone to go Ward River and come from up here. Either way, is leading in. Oh, 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 ew. Either way, it leads him in right toward your AD carry. And when your karma is like all the way back here, which I believe she was, or she might have been a little bit closer. But either way, your Kai'Sa's like right here, and yeah, let me erase that because I think Karma was like right there. You just can't be that far away from your support. You gotta stick to her like glue because she's the one that's gonna give you the mobility speed up to dodge that ultimate, and you just don't know where Scion is. So that's just a 2v2 blunder from their bottom lane. Um, them forcing Swain in the back, as you can see in the top, allows Zac to go in aggressively. He'll probably just look for deep wards. Says Wani's right here. They might have even seen him walk in. There's just nothing she can do about it other than just be there and wait for him. Mid lane 2v2 is going the same. Nothing really changing there. So let's talk about what Uaena needs to do next, though. As we approach the 10-minute mark, Ilaoi's pretty much destroying. She's on her route to her win condition. She'll probably recall here and be able to keep going forward to completing her Black Cleaver, which I believe is what Ilaoi's are building right now. First is their rushing Black Cleaver. It will also work pretty well into the Swain anyways, so that's kind of what you want. And she's just gonna want to stay in this 1v1 lane, continue to bully him out, and then he's gonna have to face her in a split push just because Yoga doesn't have anyone else that can confidently answer in the split push. I think Rise won't be able to do so, and even when he gets to his Archangels and Roa, his damage items, I think she can just build like a Spirit Visage and use sustain from her Tentacle Smash to be fine. Plus she'd be able to ignite, so I mean it's kind of like, or no, she has Unsealed Spellbook, so yeah, so she can just go to TP. So she'll be on a split push mission, and I think what I would like them to do is you have two options. You can either play around the bottom lane 2v2, and you're not. I don't think you're gonna get this turret on this push. Yeah, combined the death timers are about 34 seconds. I don't think that's enough time to take the tower. Just you two by yourselves, especially since the wave wasn't all the way pushed in already. Maybe if they had found a kill right here or something, if they had like found the kill while the wave was pushed in this area, then it's fairly easy to push the wave in like that. You're on turret in like less than 5 seconds, and you can just start pumping damage to turret while they're on that 34-second cooldown, which was longer actually, but they're not, because they pushed past the wave to find the kill, which is fine. So I think their next options are to either A, push in the wave, reset, have Jin go back, probably finish his Essence Reaver, and look for a bottom lane dive with the Azir. I hate that pin thickness; it's super thick. But I hate this one because it's super small. So let me up the size a little bit without blurring it like a complete bonobo. So I think you look for a dive right there. See, that's just ill. God, I'm an OCD perfectionist, so like I had to have this perfect. Just make that smaller. You look for a dive down here, have a zero down, have Zac get this deep vision, recall, reset. He can have enough time to take his blue jungle and then come through into Tribush, or try and even be more aggressive to come through and sit back here in their lane bush right there and set up a dive. And then once you set that dive, you take first brick, go over to Cloud Drake, and you can even rotate to mid if you have time and try and look for another play in the mid lane. It's kind of a cycle of and flow tempo. Or you could try and play around the Rift Herald coming up, secure vision around the Rift Herald, which is going to be hard because Rift Skull is still up right here. But I think once that time's out, you secure vision around the Rift Herald pit, and either you try and take the Rift Herald with Alawi roaming down, Zac. I don't think you need Azir for this, but he might be able to roam up if he can get the mid lane push first. Um, and then roam up, take Rift Herald, and then drop it maybe in bot lane or in top lane, because I think those are the two turrets that are closest to going down. I don't think Azir's been able to get any real turret damage yet. So you make that play, go for the objective, get Rift Herald, drop it, and either it takes the tower by itself, you assist it, or you drop it to distract them and go take Cloud Drake. And I'd rather them, if they take Rift Herald, reset again and go bot lane, drop it, and then by the time they leave, they should have enough turret damage to where Rift Herald alone will take it out by itself, and they can just go for Cloud Drake off that, because someone's gonna have to come down here and address the Rift Herald, and they can just take Cloud Drake off of that. But usually you want to drop it across the map to keep them from responding to you at Cloud Drake. But I mean, kind of depends on how aggressive you want to be with your tempo. And even then, before Zach recalls and resets, he can try and gank mid and try and give Azir the push, try and push first, reset, recall, and then once Azir has the push, he can roam down for this bot lane gank. That's what I would have my team do. I'm not an expert or anything. I mean, but Azir already has the push by himself. So like he already has the push on Rise right now. Is he gonna look for a gank in mid lane though? No, he doesn't. I think he was thinking about. They were thinking about it. See, this is just kind of wasting time though. That I mean that you can't control that because he wasn't able to see Sejuani take it. But I think waiting for a gank in mid lane was a waste of time. I don't like Rise using his teleport. He's up enough CS. I think he can get back to lane. If he really has to, he can just use his ultimate to realm warp there if he really wants to get there faster. I think wasting that teleport might come back to bite them later in the game or later in the next 5 minutes or so. But we'll have to see. So they did reset. I don't think Zach actually recalled. He might have. I didn't. Why I wasn't looking at it. I think Zach might have recalled, taking his blue jungle. So they're already headed that way toward bot lane to maybe so the dive. And Sejuani actually, this is a smart play by Sejuani because they know that this might be the next play they can do. So BLH already goes, gets Rift Scuttler, has his bot lane come with him and get vision. And start invading to try and get vision of the Zac. And this is why I wish that Uaena's bot lane had just pushed in and reset. Instead of, how people like to sit back and try and get those extra turret shots before recalling. But, I mean, timing is everything in League of Legends at high levels. And if you just get the push in, deny them waves, don't worry about getting pot shots on the turret because you're not going to take it down that push anyways. Recall, reset, then you can be there earlier so that when Yule Good's bot lane returns, they don't have a chance to get the pushback on you and therefore set up this play. I think that Rise TPing, while it helped in this moment, I still would have saved it. If he wants to, you can realm warp and still do the same thing and push in. I think if he can still realm warp, push that way. But I think that if the bot lane from Uaena had just, instead of sticking around to get pot shots on this bad boy, just recall, come back immediately, then they get to answer the karma. They get to answer karma and they get to answer Kaisa by basically showing up almost back at the same time, so that way these guys can't push up this way. This push doesn't happen if they're already there to basically respond to it. So now instead of it being a possible 3v, maybe 4v2 where Kaisa and Karma respond late, it's a 3v3 whereas Azir's the one responding late. And therefore they can't really defend this jungle. Although I have a feeling, by the way he's charging up that elastic slingshot, that V's gonna try to anyways. Gets blocked. See now, like this is bad. Although to be fair, yeah, I remember in comment I was like, why is Sion following Zach? Zach gets blocked. Zach basically needs to run away anyways. He wasn't gonna get anything out of this. Sion just ended up running in and dying because he got closed on all sides. Jin can't do much to follow up. He actually gets hit with a glacial prison running into them without vision. So that's nice, and dies. So they just cede their entire bottom lane in kills over to the side of Yule Good for peanuts, basically. Azir does get a good ult off though, and does get a kill to respond. He does kill BLH, which is huge for them because earlier in that fight, and he does still go down, but earlier in that fight, it was looking like it was gonna be they traded their bot lane for nothing, so that meant BLH can just roam down. They can all go take Dragon, and then once they take Dragon, their wave is pushed up. They can either go mid and try and take a mid turret, or they can go bot, try and take a bot turret. So trading that kill might at least delay the Dragon because it would take them a lot longer to kill it as 3, especially without any smite, which allows your death timers for the Silent to respond, for Happiness to respond, which means I don't think they take any objectives off of this. But the premise of that, especially for the bot lanes, innovation, Zach had to get out anyways. You didn't have to follow. Happiness, don't walk up without vision because he just walked forward, and as soon as Sejuani saw him, she hit him with a glacial prison, and he was dead. right off the bat. There's nothing you can do about that. Zika really saved that with a great Emperor's Divide into a kill. But, I mean, that's a best case scenario in a situation that shouldn't have even happened in the first place. In top lane, these two are still going at it because she switched TP and decided to TP. And I mean, at the same time, I'm really disappointed in Elo Terrorist because you see this TP cooldown? If he had saved it and just walked back to lane instead of using it to get to lane, he TPs down from top lane into that fight and then maybe turns it into an even fight. They're all stuck in that jungle corridor. He can pop his ultimate, and that might completely turn the fight on its head because Swain can't follow because he had to use TP earlier to actually get back to lane and not cede CS. So he can't respond with you. The most he can do is if you're an idiot and like try and TP in vision, try and stop you with a never move. But other than that, he can't do anything to stop you. You turn the tide of that fight and you're all good. But he can't do that because he uses TP to get back to lane. In typical solo queue fashion. So now they're still just up there 2v2ing, which is great. But at the same time, you have 3 guys dead. They're taking Cloud Drake, and they're probably going to take a turret on the back foot as well. If they can take this fast enough to have a push. And Rise is already kind of setting that up too. Pushing in mid. So they have a lot of options. So it looks like it's going to split ways though and just try and go for the farm. I'm guessing that this is the point where Swain gets to the point where he can actually try and take on Ilaoi in the 1v1. I think Colebox obviously learned from his mistakes, isn't disrespecting no more. And also he's at a point where he has better read. Oh my god. Oh yeah, I remember seeing this because he missed the everything. But I want to pause so I can finish that point before they get into that fight. You know, he has the Callus of the Aeons, which gives him a lot more sustain now in lane. He probably has his Q, he has enough levels into his QE combo, plus the sustain from Aeons to give him the sustain to survive Alawi. And this is where the lane starts turning its head because yeah, she has the Black Cleaver, but it's not like she has anything that applies Grievous Wound, so he still sustains, but no matter what she does to him. All he has to do is avoid trying to all in her on and having her do a test of faith or whatever that ability is called, her ultimate. While he either A doesn't have ultimate or B she's just not low and he might be like half health because then she'll still obliterate him. But going back to this, Timmy the Tank stayed too long. IWQ recalls and like the number one rule, number one rule, number uno, is in a situation like that where you're not going to try and make a concerted push like with Rise or anything like that, and you already see him getting ganked as well. So this is a rule for both of them. After taking objectives, if your team doesn't have a plan to go together to take something else, just go ahead and recall. That's why a lot of teams in pro play will recall after they take Baron because most of the time with Baron it's they're too low after a fight or they're too low from Baron itself. But even like sometimes when they take it and they don't have a plan at the moment to say, hey, we have a standing objective we can take. Like, hey, oh, we have a turret we can take or push, something like that. If you don't have that, recall, because then that allows you to reset and allows you to come up with said plan. And then you avoid situations like this where you don't recall, and even worse for Tim of the Tank, he didn't recall, his IWQ didn't stay around. So now he's caught in a 2v1 because Sam was able to run him down, stop him from getting away, and Jin's right here to follow up. So he's probably going to die either from Jin Curtain Call, probably from Jin Curtain Call. So he's going to die. In the mid lane right here, you already see the Zac and Azir have begun trying to kill Rise in the mid lane because he also overstayed to try and get a push on. There's no one near to help them. Colebox doesn't have TP. Yeah, Colebox, I picked the wrong pin. Colebox doesn't have TP. Says Wani's here trying to get her blue. On top of a ward, no less. So now they know they're definitely safe. So just please, just recall. Recall timing and resetting is very, very important. So like if she gets out of this, oh, yep, and the failed flash, yeah, she's dead. They tried to dive Rise, didn't work. And once again, I love you, V. You've ruined yourself. Soiled it. You soiled it. You soiled it. You soiled it. And in the mid lane, Why that messed up is because they went 2-ham. And BLH was close enough to respond, and they just went 2-ham and tried to get the kill. And now they're going 2-ham again. Zika's going to die solo to the Sejuani because Sejuani does a heckin' ton of damage. Sejuani doesn't die because she gets healed. On the back end, Swain tried to join the fight, but I want to say that he was delayed by the other members of OK. Oh, wait, no. Swain is on OK Yoga. So Swain joins way before Ilaoi joins on top of that and is able to at least mitigate, I guess, whatever losses could have been lost from that. He still dies. I want to go back. Once again, I'm afraid of getting hit with a timestamp thingy. This isn't too far backwards, so we'll see what happens here. So mid lane, they go in. Zero doesn't have ultimates, so they keep trying to go ham. I'm pretty sure that Rise was able to keep kiting because he's Rise. And then they try and go for the ultimate, doesn't hit, and he takes a lot of turret damage. So right here, if you weren't able to bounce him back earlier than this, then you might as well leave. Obviously, I think Rise flashed out somewhere up here, but if you're not able to catch him in the initial play and go in, grab him, bounce him back in, then just leave, because Rise has too much ability to kite and peel you and buy enough time for him to get help. Shoot, drop my ring. Where'd it go? Where'd you go, you sucker? There it is. Too much kite and peel ability to buy time for BLH, who was literally, you saw him on blue buff if you're paying attention to your minimap. See him on blue buff to respond, and that's why V gets stuck in this situation. And so the two major lessons we've learned so far today is watch your minimap, map awareness, and then we've learned 3. Map awareness, look at your minimap, don't overstay, and I want to say the third one, I want to say those are actually kind of the two big ones. Don't overstay, don't be greedy, and then just use your map awareness, because a lot of plays for both these teams that have been made where they both lose fights has just been like, oh, well, we saw him on a ward earlier, but we just didn't take into account that he might come up here, so we didn't ward out, and also, oh, well, we can keep going when you just can't. So, oh yeah, also, TP timing and not wasting summoner spells, namely TP. But anyways, gonna keep going. So he dies. Boop. So Swain and Ilaoi actually start roaming at the same time. So she takes the long route. The shortest path to any destination is a straight line, people. You learn that in math class. It applies everywhere in life. So he just walks straight down. She takes the longer route to get there. And I believe he dies anyways. I want to see how Swain died. That's why I reversed this, because I know Zika died anyways for just being chased down by BLH. And Innovation actually roamed up without Jin, which I think is smart, and I'll tell you why in a second, but we'll finish this. And he roamed up, and he roamed up and met her, and where she just chunked the complete crud out of him. And then I want to say she finished him because he turned back around to try and go back in, because IWQ showed up. I think IWQ and Kaisa showed up, so he turned around thinking they could try and turn this, and he was just too low to take the damage that Ilaoi was putting to his face. Because in lane he might win the 1v1 when they're both full health and just sitting in lane, but when you're already half health walking down and she has a whole bunch of time to put out free damage on top of you while you're walking down to join the fight, there's not much demonic essential will do for you anyways. And then boop. Yeah, so he walked backwards anyways. And I think he got hit by a tentacle smash, the tentacle smash right there, and by the leap of faith. So that hurts your confidence. Yeah, hate to see it. And then, but why I do like this move by, even though they do lose Son as well, why I do like this move by Uaena is it also, by leaving Jin there, it guarantees that they'll still get the turret. Well, I say that right now. I have to see how much health the turret was on, or is on, when Jin's down there. Because it depends. It's a big decision on, like, if the turret is, like, literally 50 HP, which depending, seeing on how much time he took doing that anyways, it wasn't. If the turret's on like 50 odd HP and you know minions are going to take it, then the Jin can roam up. But if the turret's not low enough for that, then he can't. I don't know why she thinks she can kill him right now. She's way too low. But either way, that fight shouldn't have happened once again by Uaena. Just too much overaggression. Ended up ceding over a lot of tempo, a lot of gold for no reason. Does he have Test of Faith? I think he used it in the last fight, but he just does so much damage on Alawi. That doesn't even matter. Like, jeez. But all in all, they do give us some kill goal, but they are able to respond with a turret. They do open up the bomb half of the map, and they still have some sort of control. Obviously, as you see, they're invading right now. Is he going to go in? Don't be stupid. He's not. And so, yeah. So, and they actually enact a lane swap, which I don't like enacting a lane swap when your support's not there because your push isn't as strong. Like, you lane swap so that you can push the tempo in the top lane and put the enemy top laner at the same time. And you put the enemy top laner and the enemy bottom lane at a disadvantage because you speed the tempo. You get a lot of time to farm by yourself where it's like a 1v2 situation where the top laner can't stay or else he gets killed. And the bottom lane is just losing out on tempo advantage in the bot lane. And you're probably going to lose a turret because they got there first. But when you have a Jhin versus a Swain 1v1, a Jhin still won't outpush a Swain 1v1 on the top side. So I think lane swapping without your support is kind of ludicrous, especially since your support doesn't even have, like, he has his rotation of CC plus Ignite, but if Weenie Hut Jr. plays this smart, he should be perfectly fine in the situation, so Sion roaming up isn't going to help. We see Jhin roaming up, I mean, not Jhin, we see Zac roaming up as well, so they might just try and look to top lane gank and try and gangbang this Swain. I think that's the way they set this up for themselves. That's the next best move, is just try and go top. Swain will see the Scion coming if he continues to path through the river to the middle. But the two things you want to get from a lane swap is either A, you get a kill and tower, or you at least get tower. So if you don't get the kill, that's not that bad of an idea. So that's not that bad of a thing. Sejuani's still in base. You know this because you have wards on both sides of her jungle, so she can't be in her jungle and she's not in yours, so she has to be in base. Their bottom lane went back to the bottom half of the map. So even if Swain doesn't stay to get killed, you still get tower first, and that means you can go tower, open up the map again, steal all of Sejuani's topside jungle, and take Rift Herald. You should be fine. We'll see how they actually play it out, though. He actually goes for red first. So I guess it's okay. Because they're gonna be seen. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he should have gone for red first. I think he should have immediately just ran top as fast as he can. Red's not going anywhere, and it gives. I mean, Karma doesn't roam all the way up top. But at the same time, now Sejuani, who might have been on the back foot and might have tried to go somewhere. I mean, she didn't have anything on the bottom half of the map, but I just think I think you give up a lot of the ghost here because now you already see Yogood's laners and team rotating to the top side of the map because they know something's going down because they saw you walk the river and you just took too long to get there. Now, Weenie Hunt Jr. Oh my god, Timmy the Tank got destroyed. Doesn't matter though. When your jungler dies, this comes in. Oh yeah, I remember that was a great play by Timmy the Tank. So what he just did there, which was pretty awesome, was so when Kai'Sa uses her ultimate to dash to an enemy, she automatically dashes behind the enemy. She doesn't stop in front. She didn't have to flash. It wasn't a bug. She dashes behind the enemy. So what he did was he used his ultimate to stop the unstoppable onslaught and therefore secure the kill, which is really, really smart on his part. Secures the kill, and that whole fight overall, I won't reverse to try and look at it. But basically what happened there was that's an example of what happens when you cede tempo by not acting on plays fast enough. If when Zac goes to his red buff and basically delays his venture all the way to the top lane, it gives Yul Good enough time to rotate up to try and respond. And although they did get the kill onto I think they did get who they get Timmy the Tank, I want to say. Although they did get the kill onto Timmy the Tank, um it still gave Yul Good enough time to rotate. Well, now I have to risk. I want to see who they initially killed. Oh no, they killed Weenie Hut Jr. No, they don't. He blows up somebody. No, they blew up Zika. Oh my god, yeah. Yeah, this is definitely a not a master class, but an example of that because, well, first of all, that was just poor positioning by Zika. Sitting out in the middle of a river, you don't have too terrible vision coming from where Zach is right here already, so you should be hesitant walking forward like this, and also you don't even have vision in this bush, and their bot lane isn't down here. And as soon as Ilaoi calls out, hey, their bot lane is not down here to answer my push, you should know they're probably roaming up this way. They've roamed up this way some way. Plus, you have wards here, so you already saw them roam up this way, so you know they're here. They've been in middle lane before. Um, so you know that that's where they'll be, and yet he just disrespects the fact that they could possibly be in this bush, walks forward, gets completely chunked out and demolished by by Kaisa and by Karma, and also by Weenie Hajime. I think like these two right here did most of the damage to him. I think Karma might have thrown out like a Q. That's why her Ares returning. Mantra Shield and a Q. To kind of help out, but it's mainly these two. He gets blown up. Zach's already in, so it's too late. I believe Jin's right here. He deadly flourishes to Sejuani to slow her down, which it certainly delays this fight. The end result didn't come as fast as it could, but I mean, this is a masterclass in what slowing down tempo, your own tempo, can do. Because instead of, if he had just gone, if Zach had just decided to go, and I'll switch to a thicker thing so I can just hit dots. Instead of going from uh mid to red, which is what I think he did, to going this way toward the top lane, if he had just headed straight toward top lane, like he wasn't even in vision. So I think he came from like back in this area where there was no vision. You go straight to top lane and try and make that play happen that we discussed, where it was you look for that dive and try and push him off turret with the Jin and the Scion coming up, because they already know they're coming up. He's gonna have to back away and just see this and possibly try and go answer Ilaoi in the bot lane. Instead of doing that, you delay it, which left the rest of Uaena, mainly BLH, Team of the Tank, IWQ, um, enough time to roam up here to help defend. Like, they didn't know where you were going because you're Zac, so you're unpredictable. So you could have been trying to look for a gank dive in the mid lane or the top lane. Top lane makes more sense, but having the element of surprise is always great. But when you delay that, they have enough time to sit here and respond to whatever you're doing. And especially when you don't have enough vision, all your vision is still down here. You haven't reset your vision. The only thing you had, I think, was a control ward right here that spotted Sejuani earlier. So when you don't have the vision to enact that, and you try and go for this play, they've had enough time to rotate. It's never going to work out in your favor. And if it does, the other team is just bad, and they have no skill. So what hath happened here is now Love UV stuck on their side. He's gonna die. Sion and Innovation and Happiness trying to make something happen, but they're just gonna get closed in on. I think he just Happiness just flashed over, and this is where the outplay comes. Great play by, not outplay, but great play by Timmy the Tank. And now all that pressure you could have had is now gone. Swain does TP down to answer Ilaoi. She is applying pressure there, so I mean, at least that's good for you. And she actually goes in on him. I think she kills him here too, because I think he walked back into range. Yeah, he walked back. He does use that, but I think she kills him anyways. Or yeah, she kills him because he walks back in range of the tentacles when she shouldn't have killed him. So she's able to continue that pressure, and actually he dies too. Maybe? No, he doesn't die. So they do kill Swain in the bot side, but because Swain was able to get there to clear waves, that slowed down Ilaoi's push because she didn't have wave advantage under turret anymore. So she couldn't push anymore. So I guess that is uh, a somewhat good opportunity cost. Timmy the Tank almost dies in top lane, but is able to escape and still push in and get farm. And then you get Rift Herald off that as well. And now they can just drop Rift Herald in mid. They can either drop it in mid, look for a push somewhere else. They can drop it in bottom lane, look for a push. Just basically drop it where someone isn't and force that person to respond. And it's like either you answer us where we decide to push and you leave the Rift Herald by yourself, or we just take a turret, multiple turrets maybe for free, but they're actually going to look for this right here. Winnie Hut Jr., no vision. He's just able to walk away. I mean, there's not much they can do. Now they're kind of grasping at straws trying to get their momentum and tempo advantage back. And the only way you can do that is by finding a kill, or at least finding a way to get more vision control, because tempo is all controlled by vision control. As you see right there, he's able to even get in, steal the red buff, but now he's all alone with 3 members, and he'll have a elastic slingshot soon, I think, but he might die first before he actually gets it. Yep. So now you're just seeing more momentum because you go for invade when there is none to be found. Well, there was one to be found, but you don't have any vision and you don't have numbers advantage. Lowry's going to be able to do a whole bunch of damage with a Zir, though. Holy cow. They do find a play on the top side. So they're just trading kills now. Like, now it's kind of just getting in the gold plat clown fiesta where they're just trading kills around the map. Zach tries to make a play, over aggressive, trying to find some advantage, gets caught out, dies. But Alawi is so strong and Azir is so strong right now, they're able to respond and get kills of their own on the Sejuani, which stops them from taking this next Drake. And at the same time, in the top side, Jin dies because he overstays being Jin. He overstays, and not being Jin, but being Happiness. He overstays, dies. I don't even think San was there with him, so he dies in the 1v2, and now they have a push. So basically, no momentum was really traded. It's the same thing where both teams are just pushing. She's going to push that bot lane, get that turret. They're going to keep pushing top, as they're already doing before they even reset, and get that and trade out. And this is the win condition we talked about before the game started, though, where Elo Terrace was going to have to split push and apply pressure. And if he couldn't do that, then they were gonna lose outright anyway. So this is good for them that he was able to get that lead early and play to that win condition. But I don't think it's gonna be enough at this point. It will have to take them winning a couple massive team fights, maybe taking a Baron. Because as you can see, if they can't find a way to kill someone else, as Swain might die here. Yeah, he dies. That's because he. It's like you say things that they should and shouldn't do and shouldn't be able to do do, and yet they still can do them because, like, for instance, if you're Colbox, why are you there without any vision? You see, as soon as you see the enemy team making a play bot lane, you need to know they're going to try and look for a vulnerable lane to make a play in. Timmy the Tank and IWQ weren't even there anymore, so you're the only person they can try and gank right there. So why are you there? You just back off, reset, wait for team, whatever you have to do. Top lane gets taken by San as well, because Timmy the Tank and IWQ backed, I had to assume, without clearing waves. And once again, V tries going, but I mean, that's all you can do as a Zac right now. Like, at this stage in the game, ooh, the Ignite kills BLH. We'll talk about that in a second. And in fact, let me pause so I can kind of summarize this point. When you're I Love You V, why you need to get these early advantages for your Elo Terrace, for your top side of the map, and for you especially, is because at some point as a Zac, all you can do is go in. And when you're behind, I don't know if he's levels behind, but um, when you're, behind, when your team is behind, especially in a 5v5 situation, not just him, to enemy jungler, because he's actually even with her right now as far as items goes and CS. He's actually kind of even with her right now. But when it comes to the full 5v5, if you can't find your team that gold advantage and keep it, then the enemy team will be able to respond when you try and go in. And unless you can find a good flank to surprise him with, they can do what they just did to him there, which is just stop him in his tracks, and then just chunk him down and kill him. Now, because he had cell division up, he was able to survive, and then BLH died for his sins because of the Ignite. But at the same time, I mean, that's going to be his life for, like, the rest of this game. Is just, okay, all I can do is go in. If I can't find the right angle, they stop me, they kill me, and that's about it. Gold relatively even right now. Jin is already on his rapid fire cannon, so he's going to be incredibly strong. Looking at finished items, Rise actually is the biggest lead that Yulgood has right now, because he has an item up over the Azir. He's starting to scale up. Um, their biggest win condition right now is just hopefully Swain comes online finally, because Kaisa is relatively online. She doesn't have as many items as Jin, but she does a heckin' ton of damage right now, especially with the Ardent Sensor boost from Karma. So that kind of mitigates that. Their weakness, they had to get Swain caught up some sort of way, so that when they enter these fights, he can do enough damage and sustain enough to where he can be an actual force and zone off the Zac and zone off the rest of the members of Uaena in these fights, which should allow Rise to have enough time to pump out DPS, allow Kaiser to pump out DPS, possibly find a kill onto Happiness in the backline. And most importantly, it forces Alawi, if they start winning fights, to actually join fights instead of split pushing and taking their turret solo. So, wait. Yeah, I was talking about the win conditions for Good. So I got lost there for a minute there. I was like, oh. So, and if you're Uaena, because I can't remember if I started the point trying to point out what Uaena can do, or if I started out pointing out what Good can do. But if you're Uaena, you just keep hoping that Elo Terrace can keep split pushing by himself, and can keep applying pressure in side lanes while you go and try and fight while it's a 4v4, or you have a numbers advantage, and or try and take objectives and force objectives while you have Alawi pushing, and hopefully they make a mistake and respond incorrectly to your pressure. Because other than that, Jin is big enough right now to where he can dominate team fights if he has a numbers advantage, and if he doesn't get aggressed on in the back line by Good. If he can go untouched right now, him and Azir basically, they can go untouched without having to feel any pressure. Then they can actually win these team fights if they're elongated team fights. That's what Jin and Azir want. They want these team fights to last a long time so they can just pump out as much DPS as possible. But to do that, I think Uaena just needs a numbers advantage. And they just need Good to respond incorrectly to the pressure. And they're already pinging on the Infernal Drake. They want to go get that because they took out BLH. But looking at the side of Good, Swain's walking back. Weenie Hut Jr. is going to have to recall, but he has TP. Timmy the Tank still has Flash, and IWQ still has Exhaust and Flash. It's going to be a close fight, even in a 4v5, I think. I think that Uaena should be able to take this, but it still will be close. It's just sad that even though they actually have a goal lead and actually had a lead early in this game, it still feels like Uaena is kind of losing this game now. But that's what happens when you see tempo and just make a few poor macro decisions. Like why are you going in this early in a fight? He's probably going to die. Or he should have died. Oh, right, because Timmy the Tank actually went to ham like an idiot. So as I say that, what happened in that fight was, if we can now reverse without it acting crazy. It's going to take me all the way back to this fight right here, which is fine. It's not too far behind. And another good thing for Uaena is they have waves pushing in the side lanes too. I don't want to neglect to mention that. So they do have all the odds in their favor when going for this Infernal Drake before. All of UV still being pretty aggressive when he comes down here. But I mean, it works out for them just because Timmy the Tank makes a horrendous play on the back end of this, which we'll see. So they see Weenie Hut Jr. You have Alawi coming through. Zach has already started charging up. Ready to jump in. He has enough range where he can jump in. I wish I could move the map because he's going to try and go for that back line. And he goes in, finds Weenie Hut Jr., and he finds Coolbox. Timmy the Tank, for whatever reason, is trying to 1v1 this Elo Terrace on the side right here. And IWQ is already taking so much damage. So they're already super low, and they are caught between literally a rock and a hard place, and a Sion that has ultimate. So Sion can, if he wants his ult right here, he's going to hit somebody because it doesn't matter who you are, Timmy the Tank, IWQ, these two are definitely going to get hit by it regardless. She's going to get hit by it probably. And I want to give Timmy the Tank, until I see what happens, the benefit of the doubt and say that he ulted to try and dodge this. But you see this, so he's going to try and smack these two together and just set them up to be knocked down by Sion right here, or Sion can try and go right here or right there for the AoE knockup if they can land it. This is really gutsy, but he does have cell division, so he can try and do it anyways. He actually walks away though, because he might not have had the kiss ready off cooldown. So he actually walks away. Sion hits Timmy the Tank in the face. Doesn't get the maximum bang for his buck though, but he's trying to look for that priority target, and he sees the 80 carry and he goes for it. So I respect him for that. But he could have gone this way instead and hit 3 targets, and then Timmy the Tank is just left to get bursted down by the rest of your team coming through anyways. Especially after the boneheaded play he makes in just a second. Okay. So he does it to dodge out, and he see. Okay, so this is what happens. So I can't really knock him for it. So he does it to dodge out from the Silent Q. He sees that Rise has done enough AoE damage to take Happiness and Zach low, and they're both rooted in place. However, I have to probably say what completely messes him over is the cell division right here. Cell Division plus, I believe, his Acathian Rain, just not hitting enough targets. Plus, I don't think he has enough. No, he has Essence Reaver and Pickaxe, so he does have Acathian Rain fully evolved. Probably has a QE evolved by now, but there's so many targets here that doesn't do max damage on those three. Because if you think it goes from pumping out 8, I believe, missiles, Acathian Rain does. So that would have been like, if it pumps out 8 divided by 3, that's like 3.5 per. With 1 extra going somewhere else. I don't think it goes from 6 to 12. It goes from 8 to 12, but it's 12. So now only 4 missiles hit each one of these people, and the missiles by themselves don't do much. You need like all the missiles, or at least most of them, to hit 1 or 2 targets. Like usually all missiles hitting a target would have gotten a kill here because he has passive proc, kill that, or hitting at least half the missiles, 6 and 6 on the Happiness and Zika in any other situation. Might have netted him a double kill with the passive plus if he pops E earlier, but because there's 3 people here, it gets split 4 ways between them, and it doesn't do enough damage. So he kind of gets screwed by his own ability. I don't think the Shrima Shuffle did anything. It might have interrupted him, the back end of his Q, so where he had to flash out or get knocked back. But I don't think it like completely messed up the play per se. And once again, I'm gonna have to go all the way back here because for whatever reason, it won't let me do what I want. It won't let me do what I want. Like when I hit the forward button, it forwards it like 30 seconds or something. So we'll just wait. So here we go again. Alright, comes through. So yeah, so that Acathian Rain comes through anyways before the Stream and Shuffle comes through. And it just doesn't do the max amount of damage because it's split between 3 targets. So he has to flash out before the Stream and Shuffle comes through. He's trying to run away, but he's not going to get away from these guys anymore. There is a Azir, and even then he had Curtain Call, and then he just used Curtain Call because who is this here? Is this Zac? No, this is Ilaoi has been keeping these guys occupied, slowed, and busy the entire time. So she actually kills, she's 1v3 while the rest of her team is killing the Kaisa. So she 1v3s, kills 1, blep, you're dead. And then the other 2 are there trying to kill her, but she has so much sustain from Leap of Faith and Tentacle Smash that she's not dying. They get Weenie Hut Jr., and then they get Colebox eventually as well, I believe. And then they kind of go for Infernal Drake. They do go for Infernal Drake. But at the same time, that's just, once again, they have a tempo advantage. And once again, it's going to be about how well do they use it. You already see Ilaoi going mid lane trying to take the rest of that turret, which is good, because the only person up is Sejuani, and she can't do anything but farm her jungle and try and ward out her own jungle. She even waits for RNG Happiness, which I think is a bad idea. Although she's going to kill him because she's Sejuani. So not that bad. She gets a kill to get it back, but they're going to lose mid lane turret. She's not going to be able to kill Innovation, and she could have used more time trying to possibly get Vision in her own jungle, and then she just gets flanked with a TP. I don't remember. Yeah, they canceled TP. Like certain parts of this game is iffy for me because I spent the back half of it trying to prepare for my own cast. But and even then, I think they said that the reason that he died right here, or that what's his name, that Happiness died, I think they say it was lagging, so he wouldn't have stayed there fully in the first place. So her going for that kill was kind of happenstance. At the same time, they do cancel the teleport for Ilaoi. So nothing really venture, nothing gained there other than getting a free kill and possibly being able to lay down Vision and get some more relief. But coming out the break, this is what Yo Good says. They're like, okay, we just killed Jin. All right, we have enough damage, enough force to push up mid lane. As for, says when he comes and joins, we have 5. We can push now that Jin's dead and try and get this. They might even get Azir because he's recalling in a really bad spot. And especially if they can kill Azir, they can definitely get that and inhibitor. Zac is over here farming his red. Ilaoi's right there. And Jin is dead. So, all in all, if they do manage to get him on the back end right here, they can push for an inhibitor despite everything they lost, because then that's only 3 members up. They don't respawn in time to help protect this, and they don't have the wave clear between Alawi, Sion, and Zac at this point to actually protect the mid lane inhibitor turret. So they've pulled this through, which is more or less because of a disrespectful back by Zika. Even though he's paused, so now he's gonna be like, holy crud, I see them and they're coming for my face. I'm scared. So I hate this system so much. Like 30? Jesus Christ. We started this at like, I want to say like 6. Oh, wait for them to talk. So we're back in game. Says Wani goes deep. No pun intended. Trying to delay the recall from Sion so her team can push up farther. They question mark ping it, but it's actually a pretty smart move because that once again just delays any other wave clear. Although they weren't able to get the Azir, so it might not really help that much. But you know, it's a nice attempt. So. Sorry, I had to respond to a text real quick, so had to respond to text. But so it tries to lay it back, and now they're gonna try and actually dive this bomb lane, which I think if you saw the sneak peek preview and saw those 2 kills, I think that's where they get these 2 kills. Is she baits, keeps them there, and they're gonna go for the bomb lane dive. Yeah, and she just get that tonight. That was a nice stun from Colbox, because Colbox when he stuns Alawi right here just keeps her from getting any sustain from her leap of faith. She also got stunned before she could try and leap into the rest of the team, so she'll only spawn like 1 tentacle. And then that's 1 kill. I'm guessing they get the next kill on Sion in a second. Yeah, they get a kill on Sion. And they're going to get some freestanding gold, which for them, this is one of the best case scenarios. You get 2 kills, get some freestanding gold on the map. Or could have gotten some freestanding gold. They still do. Zac goes in. And I think, there we go again. I think they would have been better served instead of trying to go in, instead of V trying to go in on the Zac and trying to look for something down here with only 2 members while your 80 carries all the way up here clearing waves. I think they're better served if he just goes, clears his jungle, can't really contest this, let them die, clear your jungle, push out this, and if you push this far enough to like right here, you get vision in this entire side of the jungle, and then he pushes this all the way up here while they're down there, because you're not going to defend that turret. And maybe you stick around maybe you have a Zir stick around to defend this turret right here and make sure they can't take it. But then you as Zac can go clear your blue. You can try and go push the wave. At the very least, you can get your blue side jungle, go here, get some deeper vision, more and deeper vision. If you just because you still have your yellow trinkets, so it's not like he sold to get Sweeper's Lens. So get some vision throughout here so that your support can follow up, and you have Baron vision control. You have mid and top pushed in. You can start pressuring for Baron off of that play. While they're in bot lane trying to fight Nazir, who has one of the best wave clears in the game, so they're not going to make a whole bunch of progress this early. It's super hard to dive him when he has Streamer Shuffle, and I believe he has Emperor's Divide back up. Instead, you go down there, you waste time, allow them to take your blue, put down vision of their own, and just more just opportunity cost loss. Just blah, completely gone. Just blah 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 blah. Now they get to clear you a vision, take their own, and then walk around, recall, reset, buy items, and just get even closer to evening this goal lead and having a chance to actually come back and win this game. Sorry, throat a little bit itchy. So now is when they're gonna try and go set up Baron Vision when they should have done it earlier, but now they go to set up Baron Vision, and now they're down here, they're up here. Kaisa's down here getting red, but she'll probably soon head up here. And now the only thing I have to rely on to help them do this easier is the pressure from Malawi pushing in right here. And while later on down the road, when she gets to like up in this mark, in this area, that will actually help because then they won't be able to outright start Baron or contest you for Baron while she's there. She doesn't have TP yet, but she should have TP with the reduced cooldown, with the cooldown reduction from Unsealed Spellbook. So that will help you, but you could have already had a vision down in this area and then also been pushing something else. Like this could have been right here, which means that they are forced to stay and clear this wave. Um, she's pushing down bot. Someone has to respond to her, which then means you already have vision here. And while they're coming to clear vision, you get a pick as Zac. And if you can get a pick, or at least get someone low, you can come back and start the Baron. All that gone from you just taking too much time and overstaying in the bot lane. So now they're going to be able to counter vision. Even, I think she even takes the, no, she doesn't take the Skull Crab. They get it, but now they're still there. He goes in for Uaena Jr. Doesn't even get a flash for it. Gets stunned up. Kaisa's here. And so now this fight's about to break out. So Sejuani comes from this way. Swain still has teleport. He's just gonna walk down though. He's gonna walk into the fight, which I think is smart. You're no point in trying to teleport at this point into this. Like maybe if he's up here you teleport, but at this point walk in. The only issue I have with him walking down is right now they're separated on two fronts. They're separated right here trying to fight the threat from this way. She's does hit a stun onto who I had to suspect is Jin. No, Jin's right here. She hits a stun onto Azir, but you have V right here blocking the rest of your team from getting there at the moment. So they can't really truly follow up. You also have Sion coming, probably going to knock up Uaena Jr. So you can't try and kill him off the bat with your Glacial Prison. So now they have a chance. Alawi's roaming up. Jin is safely in the back right here. So when I erase all the stuff on the mini map, now they have a chance, or I'll just erase it all in general. They have the chance for Azir to survive this. He has flash. Doesn't have cleanse. He has flash though. He can just get over the wall right here. He can just get right here. Jin's right here. Can pop curtain call or land a deadly force, then pop curtain call from all the way back on this side. So now both their carriers are going to be unattackable from you if you can't get to this Azir in time. Which with him in the way, they can't. And although he might die for it, I think that's optimal for them because you still have Sion that can engage and knock them in right here, or knock them in as soon as they walk up right there. You have the Azir who can do as much DPS as he can from the wall while they're knocked up in this area right there, and you have Jin hitting people from afar, and then he'll just have all he has to do is just walk up in the same area as the Azir and start pumping out damage with rapid fire cannon. And oh wait, you have Alawi walking up, and as soon as she gets here, if you can delay long enough, she can drop Leap of Faith in this entire area and just start murdering people. And Jin is especially dangerous now because he has his Ginsu's third item completed. And now, so your X factor in this fight is having Colbox walk down from an angle that's already going to be kind of obsolete in the fight because it's not like he's flanking around. He's going to be walking straight into the fight, straight into where the rest of his team is. And you're going to have a front to back where the line is going to be drawn right here, where their DPS should be just over this wall sitting right there. Their front line of Sion will be right there, and Allow is going to come in and Leap of Faith you so that you can't even try and get past her to get to them. And he's going to be able to walk into that, and how is he going to really respond and affect the fight other than popping demonic ascension and maybe forcing the tanks backwards? But even if he forces the tanks backwards, they can still just peel and kite back, and the carriers can still peel and kite back from this position as they head toward mid lane, and you're still fine. But once again, that's if all the mechanical plays go well. Someone can always make a misplay and completely just dethrone everything I just said. So, okay, so see, he wasn't able to, I don't know if he wasn't able to, it's too far forward, pause. I think this is because he's still alive, so, I hate having to reverse this far backwards. I hate this thing. It's making my VOD review just last that much longer. So, that's great. And something else. Big news, our Smite team was on the front page of Twitch. They lost, unfortunately, but, so I had to check that. So, sorry for extending this longer than it has to be, once again, by myself. And especially since I don't edit these videos yet, because that would take a whole bunch of time. So, the fight goes this way. He takes so much damage, he can't really flash out. So, I mean, that's whatever. His fingers weren't fast enough. Yeah, I mean, plus that ultimate is super long right now because I'm pretty sure she has at least rank 2 ultimate. BLH has rank 2 ultimate on the Sejuani. So, I mean, it would have taken kind of like a mechanical play that might have been higher than his level, or it might have been just the ult lasted super long and he didn't have time to flash. But Jin still is sitting on top of everything. I believe Sion just ultied. At the same time, he's not going to last long because he's not a top lane Sion. He's a support Sion, so he's not as tanky as he could be. So they murder him really quickly. So that's something else I didn't take into account is that Sion just really squishy. He's not the tankiest support, tankier top laner than he is support, and all he has is Locket and his fully built vision item. So while Jin was able to stay safe, Jin just had to go book it and run this way because he was like, I can't stay here because then they just come over the wall and murder me right there. And Alawi just couldn't roam up fast enough to actually make it to the fight. So they're going to have to back away and just cut their losses because they have 2 members dead. Make it 3, actually. So 3 members dead. Alawi's going to have to cut tail and run. And that should give them Baron priority. They should run straight to the Baron and not waste any time. I don't even waste time poking the Scion. Alawi can contest here. She gets a good leap of faith in. She won't be able to steal, but she'll be able to at least chunk them down. I think they're going to be ready for this, though. The Winnie Hunter Jr. is going to take those to the face, apparently. And Colebox is going to aggress. He already used Leap of Faith, that's why. RNG Happiness. Oh, yeah, I remember my completely guys saying that he was a bonobo, that Jin was for running this way. And I don't think he's a bonobo for staying. I don't think he's a bonobo for running, for staying, because he did get the kill on the cold box. I think he's a bonobo for not getting the kill while he was around here or whatever, and then booking it straight that way. Instead, he flashes over the wall, first of all, which, okay, Wild Turtle, flashes over the wall right here, gets the kill, but instead of just running straight up this way, which I think he still could have done, he might have to use heal just to get the movement speed to dodge the Sejuani slow from her W, but instead of just running that way, he runs back down this way, which there's nowhere he can really go if he runs that this way. Like, everywhere he can run when going this way, he's going to get cut off by anyone, especially Kaisa if he tries to run through river. So that entire part is sectioned off. So the only place he can run is down here on this side of the map. So if he just runs back up toward his side of the map up here, he can at least try and run for that turret, and maybe get away if he can land a deadly flourish of some kind, I mean, it's a slim chance, but, best chance. And he just doesn't take it, so he dies. And basically, it's a full team wipe for Good, and now they're in control of the game with a Baron. And all of this just off of, again, instead of going ahead and making the correct play immediately, you want to take their time and end up getting caught out, and end up having to take a fight that they don't want, and end up getting wiped and losing Baron. So, and they had vision control over it the entire time, which is even worse. So that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Now this Kai's sitting at 13-4. Doesn't matter if your Jin has Ginsu's, because she's sitting at like 3 items, 4 if you count boots, and going for her last whisper. She'll be able to blow up any AD carry that comes in their path. And they also get Zac to waste his most important initiation tool, which is the kidnap. So that's even better. They're just gonna brute force this. They don't have. I mean, that's their team composition is kind of a snowball fight run at you team comp, like we said before. They could try and have Swain and Rise 1-3-1, but seeing as they have the Alawi to answer one, and the rest of Uaena can answer the other, can answer the Rise, and they won't have an adequate push between these three right here if they get answered quickly, because no one can answer this Alawi. They had to stay grouped as 4, but they're fine with that because they have a really good team fighting comp right now. As long as they don't do anything stupid, stay grouped as 4. They have Baron buff, they should be fine. However, one thing they have to be careful of is fighting in this jungle quadrant where they have literally no wards, while Uaena has 1. That might be Skull Crab. I'll count 2, 3, 4 wards, TP2, and I think they had 1 up here somewhere. I think it expired, so they had 1 up here too. So it's heavily warded. So, and even with Zac not having ultimate, you have an Alawi, a Zac, and a Zir, and a Scion. And then the Jin to follow with Curtain Call. All these champions, they're champions that love to fight in jungle corridors where there's not enough space, where it's almost impossible not to get hit by this, almost impossible to escape him in a Emperor's Divide, almost impossible to escape him, and almost impossible to escape her. So they want to fight in the jungle if they can. So they just have to be careful of that. But if they stay as a group as 5, starve them of vision, take their jungle, take away their vision, stay in grouped as 5, and just rotate between mid or I have all these freaking dots. Rotate between mid and top, and just keep going back and forth in a never-ending cycle with vision control. They should be fine. They should be a pretty good Baron power play. So here we go. Vision starving. They even use TP to get behind Elo Terrace, which they can kinetic kill out of this. This is good. But, however, fighting in a jungle corridor, they do have the sustain to survive it, however. Ooh, happiness almost goes down to, ooh, nice Emperor's Divide, too. But it wasn't an aggressive intro. Yeah, okay. I almost thought that he was going to be able to get IWQ on the back end of that, but he didn't. They almost found the fight they were looking for. Almost. If Elo Terrace doesn't die that early from getting collapsed on, because for whatever reason he was pushed up all the way up here instead of just letting the wave crash to his turret and then having more safety, he pushed up. They collapse on him with Karma Mantra Shield and kill him. If they have Elo Terror still there and they can pull that Stream of Shuffle, and instead of Zika having to use the Stream of Shuffle defensively to push them away, if he can Stream of Shuffle in and then push them back into Zac, into Scion, then that actually might have been a play where they can turn things around. Also, if Happiness doesn't get chunked out by this Kaisa, who just completely destroyed him and then followed up on it later, but she completely destroyed him, so they were lined up right here, right? She comes in and hits him with so much damage, he has to run away from their manage. So now, instead of it being at the very least, a 4v5, a 4 and 5, where an Emperor's Divide can make this into a 4v2, or they push him in. It's still a 4v2 as long as you can separate the carries. A 4v2, he has run away, and it makes it a 3v2 where your damage sources are split up. You only have one damage source left, really, which is the Zir, who is stuck all the way over here and had to use his Emperor's Divide defensively to push everybody away from him, because he was like, holy crap, Jin's not there, my team is all up here while I'm all the way up here. So he pushes them back defensively, to which they just Mantra Shield, I believe, one more time. Actually, his thing's on cooldown, but they have enough speed ups and globals and just enough mobility basically to catch up to them anyways. and they catch up and clean up immediately off of that play right there. So almost something to get them off the brink of total destruction, but just not good enough. So they're going to push for that. They're probably going to dive them right here. There's nothing they can really do about it either, except die. I don't think they can look for the end of the game off this, though. I think the death timers aren't long enough yet, but they're going to get a whole bunch of the base off this just from rotating. They can get this inhibitor right here, push in, maybe get another turret as well. They haven't sent someone to go do it yet, so they might just reset anyways, which would be perfectly fine. Just reset, go buy up. Don't be stupid. Don't be greedy. It looks like they're going to possibly be stupid and be greedy. And so Kaisa might get caught out. Oh, nope. Sion missed ultimate. He's donezo. Yeah. That's the worst thing you can do when you're trying to stall out and try and get a team out of your base is have someone die and have them stagger deaths, because now that's another death timer. That's him down for like 30 seconds. That's the Illaoi down for 40 seconds. 40-second death timers now. So now 2 members on a full 40-second death timer, 1 on a half of that, and now they're still trying to go in and fight right here. I mean, Zika's doing his best just to try and get them out of base, but I Love UV still trying to go in and fight, and this isn't going to work out. They will push them out of base, but you've already lost 3 members right here. I think he's going to keep going too, which is unfortunate, because now Tether, he's going to try and blob out, but where are you going to go? He actually hops back into the middle of them, which is dumb. It's now staggered death timers. They can just recall if they want to, and go for Cloud Drake. They question mark ping. I think they're going to go ahead and try to go. No, they just pushed in the wave. Gonna go Steel Red. Gonna go for Cloud Drake. Push some more. And now the goalie's just spiraling out of control in Yulgood's favor, because Uaena's just trying. They're getting desperate when they don't have to be. They're losing full. They're getting desperate, being over aggressive with fights, fighting where they shouldn't be. Like even when they had vision, they shouldn't have fought in that jungle corridor, just because uh, they just didn't have the gold. They didn't. The gold wasn't close enough for them to fight for that. And now they're gonna die too. And now it's just snowballing out of control. This game might as well be over. There's not much that Yulgood can't do right now. So like in the gold disadvantage you're at, that jungle corridor fight looks juicy, but at the same time, while it's the only play they could have made to come back in the game, they can't make the play, and they just have to try and wait for Yulgood to be over aggressive in their base and maybe look to kidnap 2 people, bring them on the turret for the team, because they just have too much gold and too many items to take that fight in the jungle, and you haven't shown you can execute anyways. So when they have too much gold and you show you can't execute, as you even see with this fight, she does get a shutdown though. That's pretty impressive. Did they get 2 killed? No, they only got Timmy the Tank. So that's oh wait. Will I have to go back and analyze this one? No, I won't. I won't, because here comes Rise. So what happened there is, again, another fight where they're in desperation mode. They try and go for it. See, that's the fight, though, they should have taken earlier when they were in their base, though. Like, and that's why it was so close, because they were fighting under their... Why it was so close despite the gold disadvantage they have is because they fought under their turret, which is, like, the best possible case scenario you can do is fight under turret. And they almost made something happen, but I don't believe their damage sources were close enough to actually... They lost Zika early, who's one of their main sources of DPS right now. And I don't think Happiness was in range, and he could even get close enough to take the chunk from the he couldn't get too close, otherwise he would have gotten chunked out. So he had just had to stay outside. He couldn't get off any auto attacks, which means he couldn't do any damage. And Zika was already dead, so then it was 2 tanks and like a bruiser going in there. And while Illaoi did get a kill, they lost 3 for 1. Like I was saying, that's the fight they should have taken under their tower earlier, because under a base tower inhibitor turret is a lot more advantageous than trying to take a fight in your jungle where you don't have the aid of a turret, you don't have the safety of being able to retreat into your base. Instead, all you have is more jungle. And especially when you can't prove that you can execute on that team fight winning condition, the ones that I laid out, what they had to do, when you prove you can't execute that, then it just makes it even harder for you to do so. Like, V, what are you doing here, dude? Like, why? And he even uses ultimate to get away. But yeah. So if you can't execute, then don't try. Just wait for something easier under your base. Oh my God, he's gonna die. But he had to use Locket to survive. And then when they were finally trying to look for the fight that they needed to look for to actually execute It was too little too late, and now it's a little bit too little too late. As they can't even kill the Kaisa. Swain's now in the backline doing what Swain does best, which is zone control, hit your backline, just do AoE damage, and this should be game right here. I mean, not much you could do. This was kind of inevitable. Like, they're just too far ahead at this point for you to be able to do anything. 20 kills, up so much gold. I mean, there's not much you can do. But as this game wraps up, the three or four lessons I guess you can take from this is map awareness and, just paying attention to your map, especially when you have vision on people. Don't be over aggressive and greedy. At any point you can, don't see tempo advantage. If you know you have a play, don't relax. Don't think you can go do it later. Especially if you're a jungler like Zach and think you can just go and roam up and take your red and then come back down for the play, because that cedes tempo. So keep your tempo advantage. Keep your tempo advantage. Map awareness. Don't be greedy, over aggressive, and I added the fourth lesson later because it was something I noticed later. But I think it just wraps back into stop being over aggressive. Oh yeah, when you're behind, don't get desperate. I think that's important. Like, when you're behind, don't desperately look for fights. You have to pick and choose your fights carefully. Sometimes you have to learn to cede some objectives. You have to just learn to give it up. And I think there were 2 times where Uaena just didn't learn that they just had to give something up, and that's what really put the nail in the coffin. It wasn't the Baron that they lost that put the nail in the coffin. It's the decisions that they made after that Baron. The fact that they took that fight in their jungle when they didn't have the gold to take it in that instance, and then the fact that they tried to take that fight later, were 2 big things. So that's the 4 lessons we learned from this one. I'll save the other VOD reviews for later this weekend. Tomorrow I'm going to be busy. Saturday I'm going to be busy, but the fact this one took so long means that just need to go ahead and call it a day. I might get on and stream some League later. Don't know why I told you this, your YouTube video, but regardless, yeah, so for those of you watching, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully this taught something. All right then, I'll see you next time. And next time I'll probably have my camera on because I was using the mouse to try and see if I could do this, but this has been it just isn't worth it the way I've had to struggle with it, so it's just not worth it. So, but I'll see you guys next time.